You off to a good start and the old heart stops pounding. And he got it. That's a nice start. Bit of a sweat, but all is now well for Fred. Good day for golf, really, Brent. The light is very good. Sometimes you get it very bright, and when the fairways are a little brown, you get glare. So the depth perception will be very good. The temperature's good. There's very little breeze. The greens are no more than medium quickish. There's no frightening putts on the course at all. So all in all, now's the day to do it. You've got to get off to a quick start.
This is at 15 for birdie, John Daly.
He was out in level par and going along pretty well, delighting the crowd with some big hitting as usual.
The third member of the trio, and the crowd's out there behind him, is now we cut to the 7-1 favorite for this championship. Here is Nick Faldo.
You can see the flags on the top of the grandstands on the left. They're beginning to stand out a bit of breeze coming across from right to left as they come down this final hole. The flag on the front middle today, we've already seen a few players in that bunker on the right, and a lot of them are trying to bounce it short, pitch it short and let it run up. But if you just get in the wrong place, you get it caught in the sort of green irrigation as the water sheds off the green. The front 4, 5, 6, 7 yards short of this green are quite soft, so you're better off pitching it 40 yards short. As long as the ball's got a bit of chase in it, it'll get up onto the green. That's a good one. He's hoping for the bounce, pitching it short, bouncing it up, chasing it on. You see, sat down in that soft stuff just short of the green. He played it to bounce and run, and it didn't. So a little chip and a putt left for Faldo to finish off this very smooth opening round, considering he began with a par 5, drove it in the left-hand bunker at the first, and hold a 4-footer for a 5.
Now this is Woosnam for his par at 16. Well, Ian Woosnam coming to 17, a par 5, and you would think that he would have a chance for a birdie there. Woosnam tied with Steve Pate for the lead in the first round of the British Open, and we'll be right back. Jack Nicklaus for a par at 16. Chip Beck playing with him, Peter, and Jack Nicklaus is 3 over right now. Now it's Nick Price at 17 at the tee here.
Seventh hole for Nick Price, the second of the short holes on the first 9. Nicely on target.
Playing well today, Peter, at 3 under.
Yeah, 3 under is a good score. Well, you've got to get a good score under your belt today, sort of in the 60s if you can. At the 18th now. Faldo, have you noticed how people have started taking or using a putter more from off the green? It seems to be coming back into fashion. Some 20 odd years ago it was the thing to do. Now I think the grasses are cut around the world. They're cut so tight that it's almost like putting on the greens as they were presented, say, 15 or 20 years ago. And Faldo just disturbed by something, so starts the routine all over again, and a big moment for him here. He obviously wants to get down in no worse than 2 from the front of this green. If he can, it'll be 5 under. That'll be a round of 66, which I'm sure he would have accepted before going out today. wind has changed a little bit what there is. It's almost turning round across and almost against at the 18th, but it's swinging a bit. Well, still a bit left there, Brent.
Yes, Peter, that was a splendid 64 that Steve Pate put on the board here for everybody to shoot at. And Woosnam now is going to go out after it. This is 17th tee.
Well, Woosnam was lucky there to find a lie after that wild tee shot.
Now back at the 7th tee. This is Floyd.
Oh. Floyd still a mighty competitor. Had 3 threes in the first 4 holes. Now back to the 18th. Peter Mitchell also with a putter from just off the green. He's 1 under par. It's a better speed. But still, it's just slows down and tails away when it gets up to the hole.
Well, he has to be happy with his first round here at Muirfield.
Yes, he's been around some time. He's putting his game together. 7th now, Kite. And go it did. What a nice bounce up towards the pin. 1 under. Now the 18th. Craig Parry putting for a birdie. 4 under. He's got a very good opening round going. That's not a million miles away. Oh, well, Mark James finished with 3 birdies, and Craig Parry nearly did. And you suddenly get a run like that, holding 2 or 3 putts, and it smartens the old scorecard up a lot. Now Parry's going to putt out and get out of the way. That'll be a nice opening round from him, 67. A nice start to the championship. Next it'll be Faldo. Well, he's been doing a lot of gardening, a lot of prodding about, and now he reckons the line is smooth. And this a very missable putt for a par 4. This for a 66. He's missed a couple of these today, just hit them too hard. They've horseshoed out. He really does drill those into the hole with great confidence. A splendid opening round from Nick Faldo.
And Peter, Steve Pate in with a 64, and that ties the lowest opening round ever in the British Open Championship. We're going to come back and hear from our early first round leader in a moment. Well, here now is the U.S. Open champion, Tom Kite this for a birdie at the 7th, hoping to move quickly to 2 under. Cross-handed putting style, rolls it just past. Well, Steve Pate, wonderful. Frank, thank you. Here at the 7th, Raymond Floyd moments ago, this for a birdie that would move him to 4 under.
He's still got the old touch.
And just after that, Kite finished up his par. Now John Cook, tee shot. He too is at 2 under. This is the 4th hole for John Cook. Stands at 2 under right now. So the boys are going out after it today, Peter, with these conditions.
Yes, those that, well, there's still some good names that are struggling a little bit, but on the whole, the good players are playing well. They're taking advantage of it. How it's going to be for the next sort of 6 hours, there's still that much golf left here today. So some of them may get caught when the tide or whatever it is changes later on in the day, may catch them out.
So Davis Love, our first look at him.
He's taken the eye of many people around here. They fancy him to do very well this week. He's got to be a bit straighter, a bit more accurate than that if he's going to feature come Sunday night.
Roger Davis of Australia is the 3rd member of this trio, and he's at level par.
He had a very good chance to win here when Faldo won. He put on a great charge. Interesting character. He sort of went away for the game for a spell, and now he came roaring back. He had an injury problem or two. Wear and tear on joints and wrists and elbows and things like that, but he's a good, tough competitor like so many of the Australians.
So Per Ulrich Johansson for a birdie at 17.
He played a beautiful pitch, Brent, from the right-hand hill. Good-looking player.
One of the bright young Swedish stars, Rossi. Now Jack Nicklaus. Second shot at 17, this par 5.
That's a driver on the second shot here, playing downwind from about 280. And he hit it left.
And Jerry, he's at 3 over.
Well,
right
he's not
now.
striking the ball well at all.
And he's in the bunker on up ahead there. Give you an idea, 147 of them. And now, Peter, here's Woosnam.
Ooh, and that was a terrible shot out of a pretty good lie on the rough with a 3-iron. Woozy extremely lucky he missed the bunker off the tee. That's really one of the first poor shots he's hit today. He's played really well.
Pulled his tee shot to the left of somewhere up between the 3rd and the 4th bunker up there on the left-hand side, and as Jerry Pate was saying, the lie was pretty good. I think he tried to force a 3-iron, hit a low running, hooking 3-iron, chasing it up onto the green. You probably get 100 yards of run out of it if he'd hit it properly, but he smothered it. Now chip back.
That's a 3-iron cut way to the right. Not going to be in good shape over there either. 3 very poor shots playing downwind. Golf course is playing probably as easy as I've ever seen it play, Peter.
Yes, they've got to take, well, a lot of players are taking advantage of it. Jerry Woosnam still got a couple of holes to play. Steve Pate, splendid round from him. 64, Faldo in, also a good round. Lee Jansen. So it's a pretty international looking leaderboard at the moment, but of course it's very early days to sort of decide or make a decision as to who's going to win here. Constantino Rocca there, one of the few Italian players in recent years that have made any great impact on the European Tour. Orin Vincent, that's an entirely new name to me. And some of these are getting more familiar. And of course, Gary Player there at 2 under after 7 holes was the winner here in 1959.
Here's the South African Peter Ernie Els at the 18th tee.
Tremendous prospect, this man.
Ernie just hit a drive and a 6-iron at 17, Peter.
That's some big hitting, Bob.
Oh, he's got a beautiful golf swing.
He's a big fella too, isn't he? He must be 6'4" and a giant of a man as he threaded it through the bunkers. And well, he had a tremendous season down in South Africa last winter, and he's only a young man. Wonder what the world of golf holds in store for him. Now there are the bunkers, 2 left, 1 right, and Els has gone past that second bunker on the left-hand side. Just will have a short iron into this final green.
Now Larry Mize.
Larry also playing very well. He did not make 4 at 17 after a decent drive. And playing downwind like 17 is, it really hurts when you don't make birdie there.
Uh-oh.
And that one's bad. Very bad.
Yes, you get in the front of these bunkers, or indeed along the sides of them. Sometimes the banks are so steep, you have to play out sideways or even backwards, or any way you can get the club to the ball.
Let's go back to the 17th, and here's Woosnam's 3rd at this par 5.
Woozy with a pitching wedge from 115 yards playing downwind. A lot of green to work with. The pin is back 28 paces from the front. He had a good lie, and he did not hit that very well. Needs to take a hard bounce, and it did. Caught it kind of in the top of the club there. Woozy really having a hot round today with birdies on 2, 5, 8, 9, 10, 14, and 15. No bogeys thus far.
It's one of the more famous sites at Muirfield, Peter, the 17th. From there, of course, Lee Trevino chipped in for par, wrapped up a championship. Tony Jacklin 3-putting, and really wasn't the same after that, was he?
No, he wasn't indeed.
Now, Roger Davis back on the 4th green. This is for a birdie.
So the greens are only medium pace, 1 or 2 maybe medium fast, and Roger Davis adopting the Langer putting. That's an entirely new move by him.
So some of the big names with strong performances here. Steve Pate surprising everybody with his 64, but Nick Faldo's 66 in as expected, and 2 off of the 7 under right now. Woosnam still on the course, and let's go down to Frank Hannigan, who's with Nick Faldo right now.
Good solid start, Nick. Would you prefer if today was a little bit more windy, there might be a little bit more separation, you think, between the whole field?
Yeah, well, I think the course is in such good shape. Greens are very good. I mean, I think if the golf course played tougher from tee to green, then it's really good. You're going to be rewarded if you play well and get to the greens in regulation and then putt well. But at the moment everybody can do that, so it's there's going to be some low numbers today.
Dick, for an American audience that may not understand that there is such a thing as legalized gambling on everything, including golf in your country, and that you go off as the favorite. I think it's something like 7 or 8 to 1. Are you conscious of that?
No, I've got enough to worry about that little white golf ball. That's all I worry about. I mean, the bookies is, I don't think I put much more than $20 on a horse in my life. So, I'm not a gambling man, so I really don't worry about that at all.
Would it be unheard of for a golfer to put a few bob on himself over here playing in a European event?
No, they do occasionally. I mean, because obviously if they get really long odds and if they know they're playing well, some guys, look at the odds, might see themselves 50, 60 to 1 in a regular tournament. If they know they're playing well, they can get an each-way bet. They're going to put a couple £100 on themselves if they finish 4th, top 4. you times it up by 20. I mean, they go away laughing. So that's how we have to make ends meet over here.
Well, your making ends been very weak. Very nicely, Mr. Fowler. Back to Brett for the golf. Thanks, Nick.
Sure, pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you, Frank. Now, third shot moments ago, Jack Nicklaus in that bunker at 17.
Pretty easy shot here.
Well, in truth, not a very good shot from Jack, and I was talking to him yesterday, and he really, the old sparkle's not there. He's not hitting the ball well. He hasn't been hitting the ball well for many weeks now. He doesn't feel his alignment is right. He's not happy with any part of his game at all. He even had his old blade putter out yesterday, giving it an airing, and now he's back to a more modern style of putter. But things not happening for Jack, whose last Open Championship this may well be.
Well, Peter, you're exactly correct. He's hit the ball very poorly and putted poorly today, and that's why he's 3 over par. This hole playing very easy today, downwind, par 5. You would think it was an automatic birdie for Nicklaus, but he's got some golf left.
Good putt, but he's going to finish at best 73 or more likely 74, and that puts a big strain on Jack tomorrow even to qualify.
Now Couples is at the fourth tee. He's at level par right now. First of the par 3s, about 180 yards long, uphill. At 17, here's Woosnam. This to give him the lead. Woosnam and Pate tied at 7 under par. Woosnam with the finishing par 4 18th, still up ahead. Years old, he's out of Bergamo as we see Mize.
Yes, well, the game in Europe has really taken off over the last 10 years or so, perhaps a little longer than that. You've had Sevi, of course, who's been around a long time from the northern part of Spain. He's brought a new dimension to Spanish golf. You had Bernhard Langer from Germany, Rocca now from Italy. The only country really that's lacking in any classy international players at the highest level is France. And when you think it's such a huge country, big population, quite a lot of golf courses, it's surprising that they haven't produced a really tip-top player, but they're building about 400 new courses there at the moment throughout the length and breadth of the country. Hopefully some of them will be what we call municipal or public facilities, which may encourage the ordinary folk to get out and play. That's one of the delights of Scotland, of course. There are literally dozens and dozens of golf courses where it's still very inexpensive to have a round of golf. It gives you some idea of the spectators here. It's not a record day, but the 16,500 seats are available round the course for the spectators. So the organising of this event is really something.
So Ian Woosnam strolling off 7 under through 17, and tied with Pate. And there's the grandstands, I guess, they were pioneered here by the British Open, right?
Yes, they were. Yes, Peter. Yeah. It's very interesting that the USGA and the R&A, who work very closely together, many people consider them a rather fuddy-duddy because they always wear blazers and have collars and tie and all that sort of thing. But they have been wonderful guardians of the game. And, of course, they produce the rules that all the club player members throughout the world play to. And 98% of them are all amateurs, giving freely of their time. So they're wonderful organizations.
Well, Beck with his birdie at 17 now comes to the 18th tee, I believe at 1 under. We'll have to double check that. We get some information up here that he birdied 17. That's confirmed, yes. So Chip Beck on the tee now is at 1 under.
That is correct, Brent. He had it a couple under par and slipped and made a few bogeys midway through the back nine. Ball down the right side, just short of the bunker. Going to be in good position.
Interesting play there, Jerry, taking
an iron,
taking a 1 iron, yeah, just playing short of those bunkers. Now Woosnam, he's going to give this one of his big clatters, I think.
Down the left side, and just as we said.
And you see, he bounced on the down. Gets out in 1 and then hope for a pitch and a putt. It's by that sort of mistake that championships and tournaments are won and lost. Now Nicklaus.
Well played, right in the center. Beautiful tee shot by Jack.
So Nicklaus is there. Group behind him, this is John Daly. 2 over par, his second shot at this par 5.
205 yards for Daly. Wind behind him, probably no more than a 7 iron. Hit a huge drive. This one's headed right toward the center of the green.
So he was posted at 66 to 1 to win this British Open Championship. Not given much of a chance. There's Couples for a birdie at the 4th. So Freddie Couples stays at even par. Meanwhile, it is Steve Pate in a moment. They're in the first round. Now for an eagle, John Daly at 17.
From about 23 feet. And he hit it about 22 feet 9 inches.
1 over. Mark, how has he played overall in his first round of the British Open?
I think he's done very well, Brett. He had 1 bad hole, the 14th, where he made a double bogey, but these were the kind of conditions he were looking for. Pretty calm.
Now Johansson's birdie attempt at 18. Good solid first round. Back at 17, another huge favorite here is Sam Torrance. Uses the long putter and then he puts it right up underneath his chin.
Got off to a very slow start, Sam, today. It's been a battle for him. Well, if he gets a 4 at the last, it'll be a 72. And, well, that wouldn't be a bad-looking card. But, of course, these players here at 7 under, you're looking at 64s leading the way.
Ernie Els, the young South African, with a fine round. He birdied 18 to wind up at 5 under at 66. So he figures to be a factor here. Gary Player, a former British Open champion. Won right here at Muirfield, didn't he? Vijay Singh, I followed him for a while, Peter. He was 2 over after 3 holes and then did not have a bogey the rest of the way and 4 birdies to wind up at 2 under par. Really a fine round. He was with Tom Watson and Paul Azinger somewhat overwhelmed, the pressure of being in a group like that, and he really came on nicely. Now at the 18, second shot, and it's Beck.
Chip Beck has 212 yards. The wind is from his right, but it shouldn't be much of a factor playing up through these large grandstands. He has a 3-iron out. Pin is in the middle of the green, 14 paces deep. Kind of cut that one to the right, and he wanted to play a cut shot back into the wind, and he just lost it out.
Jerry
right.
went to the dreaded horseshoe on up ahead there at the green side, that bunker.
That's a 4-iron from 195. He came right off of it. Very, very poor shot. One of the worst shots I've ever seen Jack hit on a final hole.
And short of the bunker.
Woozy's got no shot. He's 184. Just going to play it out into the fairway with a wedge. These bunkers are death.
Yes, it was interesting. Steve Pate saying that he didn't think the rough was any great factor here because they've had a dry spell and it's not very thick down in the bottom of the rough. But the bunkers are very punishing because of the steepness of the banks, and of course the number 140, nearly 150 bunkers, and they really are all very formidable ones. I don't think there's more than a handful you could take, say, a 4-iron out of.
This is an ovation for Jack Nicklaus, coming up as much as anybody with Chip Beck, and of course he and Woosnam a huge favorite here. He would be a very popular winner, but the crowd now will bring them up.
Well, Jack Nicklaus, most wonderful record of, shall we say, modern professional golf.
Woosnam is looking at his ball right, Jerry. Is that the crossing in the 18th fairway?
He's in the crosswalk, which has been marked off with white paint. It is ground under a pair, which he is allowed to take a free drop. The problem is if he drops it from there, his nearest relief is behind him, which is in the rough. He's obviously considering playing the ball where it lays. The people have walked across there and kicked up the dry grass, and it's really not that good of a lie. He looked like he was struggling a little bit on the 17th hole. As I said, a very, very easy hole today. He was sort of put out with himself, not birdieing 17.
Little 9. Yeah, that sounds good.
125 yards, little 9-iron. Pull that ball, not a very good swing. Going to be short.
Yeah, Payne Stewart at the tee at number 4.
Get up. Jump, Payne!
He's playing with Fred Funk and Joe Ozaki as we go back to Jack Nicklaus and his third shot here at 18.
Well, I can hardly believe this. It looks as if Jack's got his putter out. He's certainly 5 or 6 feet in the light rough. He's 35 yards from the hole.
I'm really surprised he's playing a putter also, but Jack really, to be the greatest player that ever played the game, is not a very good chipper, and he probably feels more comfortable putting this ball. Pin is just up over a little ridge, so he's going to have to hit it firm to get it up on top. That needs to get up. That is not going to be up. Going to roll back. No. A very poor effort there. Of course, Jack didn't have to chip too much in his career, did he?
That's true. Tell you what, Chip Beck's got an awkward bunker shot, Jerry. It looks as if the ball is on the downslope in the back of the bunker, and it's one of those shots that he could easily sort of blade it, thin it, and drive it over the green or catch the bank in front of him. This is not an easy shot. He's only about 15 or 16 paces from the hole.
Well, Peter, as you chaps would say, these bunkers are devilish, and this is a very difficult shot here. Whoa.
Yeah, just the blade came in a bit steep, and well, you saw the result.
Well, these three are leaking a little bit of oil here on the 18th.
Yes, it's rumored that this might be Jack Nicklaus's last championship, and well, he may come out and do a 65 or something tomorrow, but one would hate for him to finish, if it were to be his last, by not playing all 4 rounds, or indeed striking the ball as poorly as he's done basically over the last few months, and certainly here today at Muirfield.
Peter, why isn't Nick Faldo more popular in his homeland?
I've no idea. It's just that he's well, he's not a warm personality. He's greatly admired. He's not loved. He's rather like Lester Piggott, our great jockey. He's admired. He's not loved. And I think there are in every sport you get, there are people that the public take to their hearts. Perhaps privately they're not very nice people, but the public love them, and others the public admire, when really sometimes they have better qualities than those they love. So, I mean, Faldo is a very generous, kind-hearted man, but he just can't relax, you might say.
Here's someone who generates a little love. He and Woosnam now. They'd love to see him get this one in.
Well, that was for a 4, though, of course, the one wayward drive.
So that'll cost him a share of the lead, won't it? And now back at 4, here's Payne Stewart wearing the Detroit Lions colors today.
Little less speed, that might have gone in. I'm intrigued by how many of the great players today, particularly from the United States, are having the designer stubble look, the sort of 5 o'clock shadow. Quickly, though, to Ray Floyd for a birdie at the 9th. He's going along very nicely indeed.
And clean shaven, too.
Yeah. Up the old guard. Clean shoes, clean fingernails, and a clean chin. Never hurt anybody, lad. Dropped the stroke at the last hole, took 5 at the 8th, out in 32, and that's one of the best outward 9s so far in the championship.
And Payne knocked in for his par. So this is Tom Kite for an eagle at 9.
A lovely second shot Tom played here. As today, the players coming here for the first time will wonder what all the fuss has been about this 9th hole, which has over the years been played as a par 4, I think, one year. It's a monster when the wind's against. But today, players of modest hitting ability, lengthwise, are reaching it in 2. And here's Kite for an eagle. Good putt. Up the hill, just died on him right at the hole. Nice birdie. Right, 2 under. He's in good shape. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't figure strongly come Sunday night.
Very relaxed after his U.S. Open Championship. Why not? So Woosnam has slipped out of the lead. He was tied with Steve Pate. Woosnam slips into second. 1 behind Pate, and Jack Nicklaus winds up with a 75 or 4 over par for his first round. Well, I know it's about 10 o'clock back in New York, 9 in Chicago, 8 in Denver, and earlier still on the West Coast. Maybe you just joined us. You can see that the wind is down, and so are the scores here at Muirfield. The fellows are sorting it out here in the first round, and without that wind, able to stay away from the 147 treacherous bunkers that dot this beautiful golf course. Many of you have had the pleasure of playing this, perhaps in the past, and it truly is one of the great golf courses. But without the wind, as you can see, with the greatest players in the world, not all that tough. This is the greatest international field in golf in the course of a year. More countries represented here, and some 6,000 started out attempting to qualify, and 156 made it. And now for his observations on the first round, Steve Melnick. Steve, nice to have you with us.
Brent, it's a pleasure. This is my first British Open, and I wish I'd done more. You know, it's interesting that we in the States refer to this as the British Open, but throughout the world, it's not the British Open. It's the Open Championship. And you only have to look at the leaderboard today to know why. We are seeing names and faces of players that play golf throughout the world. There are tours in Australia, Asia, Japan, Europe, and the U.S., and they're all gathered here in Muirfield, Scotland this week in what promises to be a tremendous championship. Brent, the golf course has surprised me in the sense that the weather has dictated play, and that we're seeing more birdies than we thought possible. The early players going out shooting low numbers are buoying or carrying the following players in the field to good scores as well. If the wind freshens this afternoon, the late afternoon starters may have the worst of it. But for now, the early starters are in great shape.
First tee, here's Tony Johnstone of Zimbabwe. One of the internationals. He's with Greg Norman and Jose Maria Olazabal. This is a demanding par 4. You've got to drive it straight here and stay away from that bunker on the left side. Fighting the first tee jitters. So good to be safely away, and now here's Norman. He started at 20-1 in the bookshops over here, but there have been a lot of betting on him in Scotland and down in London. He's now a 16-1 choice. Remember, he didn't compete at the United States Open. He did not qualify. That one in Norman fashion. And off to the right. Into that grass, and now Olazabal. Won't be too bad over there on that side. Greg should be able to get a club through it. Great Spanish star. People expecting great things from him. Strong-looking golf swing, isn't it? And did just avoid that bunker. So of the three, Johnstone in the best shape. So David Ledbetter, he has had a role in what Nick Faldo has accomplished here lately, and he's with Frank Hannigan. So let's go to Frank.
David Ledbetter.
Now this is for a double bogey. John Daly, Steve, drove it into the bunker here at 18, then left his next shot in that bunker. Was short when he finally did get out. With the double bogey, he is in at 74, so that spoils what was a fine opening round for John.
Yeah, Lee Trevino said at the beginning of the week, if Daly could drive the ball in the fairway, he thought he could win here.
Well, certainly Steve Pate found the fairway often today. Splendid 64, and he's our first round leader. Raymond Floyd, second shot, 10th fairway.
Hit a nice drive right down the fairway. Has 180 yards to the hole. Wind coming out of the left, just a shade and behind the players. Raymond has a 6-iron. Try and bounce it just short of the green.
Castro is one of the great instinctive players in the game of golf, and that's perhaps the greatest virtue in playing in an Open Championship, and yet he's never won one. That's the one missing ingredient to his major Grand Slam, if you will.
Here's Greg Norman now. Second shot at number 1. Has it in the air out of that fluffy rough. So an example, Steve, of the rough not being too binding there.
You know, they had no rain here for 7 weeks until last week, so that's why the player's seeing really benign rough conditions as well.
Now, back at 10, this is Nick Price, Rossi.
Tremendous drive, 155 yards to the hole. Got it out to the right.
Pass along some scores from United States players. Fellows already in. Nice round. Billy Andrade, 2 under 69. Mark Calcavecchia with a 2 under 69. And then, fine round by Larry Mize, a 68. But the round that really is the happiest is Mitch Boges, even par 71 for the amateur champion, with his son Christian caddying for him today. And, oh, he has to be pleased by that. Now, Mark O'Meara, 7th tee. 185-yard par 3 here, Steve.
He is 2 under par playing to this elevated green.
What do you think of the par 3s as a group here at Muirfield?
Well, 3 are about the same yardage, which is rather unusual until you think that old Tom Morris first designed this course in the 1800s and H.S. Colt redesigned it. That's Jumbo Ozaki.
So he's with Mark O'Meara. 1 under.
Really had a very good campaign in Japan. Winner of 3 tournaments. Ooh, that is one of those steep-faced pot bunkers. He'll have fun.
Now we see Greg Norman with his trio there at the first green. Olazabal, I think, is in that bunker there on the golfer's right.
Well, many rate both Spaniards, Ballesteros and Olazabal, the best short game and perhaps best bunker players in the game. What a talent. All that's missing is a major title. Came to the last hole at the Masters a year ago. Brent, one of the betting favorites this week.
Yeah, he sure was. Here, Steve, is Tony Johnstone of Zimbabwe. He was getting ready there at the first green. Now let's cut to Sandy Lyle at 7. This is for a birdie.
Former Open champion, playing rather well at 1 under.
Now Johnstone. Ozaki ran that one past. That was at the 7th. One point, he was 3 under, and now he's dropped back to level, and he's decided to back away from this one. Take his time. He and his brother Joe, hugely popular over in Japan. Jumbo, 7 years the senior.
There's actually a 3rd younger brother, Brent Jet Ozaki.
Norman looking at what he has left here on the first.
One thing to notice as you watch the broadcast is the height of the flag sticks. They're not the conventional 8-foot flag sticks. And it makes it extremely difficult to judge the position of the flag stick from the fairway. You see Bruce Edwards, Greg's caddy, there holding the flag stick. It's barely neck high, if you will.
The reason why they're so short is the fierce wind. They would snap otherwise. has that to go, and here's O'Meara for a par at 7. So he was disappointed in how he performed at the U.S. Open, but moving right along, and we cut to Ray Floyd, who's having a spectacular day so far. This is for birdie and 5 under if he can make it.
It's from about 15 feet. Raymond's had a great day on the greens.
That's caddy Steve Williams, a big help to Raymond on the greens. "49 years old. Hard to believe, Brent, that next year he'll be among those on the senior tour. Actually, later this year, in fact.
He's going to stay in the regular tour. He thinks Larry Loretti is too tough on that senior tour. He'll stay with these youngsters.
He has the lowest scoring average this year on the regular tour. Won at Miami.
Broke away there at the end, and it still has to feel awfully good about the way he has started here at Muirfield today. Back hasn't bothered him lately, he said, following a practice round the other day.
Got caught up in that terrible wind in the final round. Contention until then.
Now let's see what kind of a start Norman gets off to here.
Well, you make bogey at the first, and it kind of sets the mood for the whole day. Now you feel like you've got to fight back, particularly when you see all the red numbers on the leaderboard already.
And several of the fellows have had to do just that, including Faldo. He bogeyed this hole. This is Olafable for a par.
Fairly handsome pairing.
Yeah, this will attract a gallery, won't it?
He's in no hurry, Brent.
We're laughing because our producer Terry Jastos reminded us how quickly the Ready played over the weekend. Yeah, they couldn't play together. Let's go to the U.S. Open champion here at 10, cross-handed putting style for par. So it's Steve Pate in at 64. He's the leader. Ray Floyd trying to come after. Well, Davis Love has birdied 5 and 6, making a move, 7th tee.
That's a 6-iron. Hole playing into the wind.
So Jerry Pate has found his way back to Davis Love, who's playing with John Cook and Roger Davis in that trio. And Davis Love, Jerry, and Steve really righted himself as we see Cook coming up to the tee now.
I think what's important for Davis is that he wants to win this championship. He feels that his chances are as good here to win as they are perhaps at the Masters. Given the type of game that he plays and the type of courses on which this championship is played, he likes his chances. Par 3 here. A look again at our
leaderboard. Ernie Els, if you're wondering about him, fine-looking youngster out of South Africa. He really muscled a tee shot here at 18 and wound up with a birdie on this finishing hole. Andrew McGee in at 67. This is a par 71 here at Muirfield. Fine opening round. Billy Andrade in at 69. O'Mara at 2 under through 7. Right, Lanny Watkins winding up at 69, and Lee Trevino, another one of the veterans, and he thought he would play well here. He won a championship back in 1972 in very dramatic fashion. Seve is under par for the day, and many of the international stars, they all come together at the British Open Championship. Gary Player, one-time winner. Bob Tway plays well at the British Open. He's under par already. Peter O'Malley, what a story he was a couple of weeks ago, Steve.
Well, he birdied, played the last 5 holes 7 under to win the Scottish Bells Open. Played his way into this tournament.
It was last week, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Peter Sr., another one of the Australians, in at 70. Couples can't quite seem to get it going here, can they, today? And the defender, Ian Baker French, even par for the day. Given the scores, Steve, are the fellows who are at even par, do they have to be disappointed in how they finished today? We have so many of them under par.
Let's say they're satisfied, they're not pleased.
David Faraday there of Ireland. He was under par for a while. Jody Mudd. He plays well over here, doesn't he? Wayne Riley out of Australia. Craig Stadler. And he had practiced well here. That has to be a disappointment for him at 72 on the day. He'd hit the ball very well during his practice rounds. Tommy Nakajima at 72. Mike Harwood, he was strong last year at the British Open. Sam Torrance at 73. And Tom Watson, he was a 2 under par on the front 9 and then slipped coming home. John Daly had it going and wound up 3 over for the day. Tom Weiskopf battling it. Curtis Strange winding up at 3 over. A look at the 11th, Steve, where Kite is.
One of the more unusual features here is that you cannot see your tee shot land. You play over a crest of a hill, and you need to avoid the fairway bunker on the right.
Kite has a shot of 90 yards, straight downwind, just a little pitch.
Take 24 back now, please. Take 24 back now.
Trouble.
That's something you don't see Tom Kite do very often.
Rossi, several of the players have told me that it's the fairway bunkers they fear the most, even more so than the greenside varieties. Do you find that true when you're walking around there? Well, first I want to cut away to John Cook, who was first. And now let's go back to Price.
Nick Price from 85 yards, sand wedge. Beautiful shot. Raymond Floyd also has 85 yards. Hole playing very, very short. I think a very interesting thing about it here today is not only the wind not up, although it's gusting just a little more now, but it's very warm. It's much warmer than it was at Pebble Beach.
Well, the weather forecast is pretty good, Rossi, until Saturday. Then they say some of the rain and the wind might be headed in.
In 1986, the Sony Corporation, acknowledging that golf is increasingly a truly international game, conceived a worldwide ranking system published weekly that finally allowed the comparison of top-ranked golfers around the world. Since its inception, only 6 players have headed the Sony rankings. Currently, that honor lies with Fred Couples, the 1992 Masters champion.
Steve Pate with a 64, and Rossi Tom Kite has moved to his ball in that bunker out at the par 4 11th.
He just got it up and down at 10 from out of a very difficult bunker. This is a little easier shot coming back into the wind.
Man who takes practice, Brent, to a higher art form.
Raymond eyeing what he has to do to accomplish a birdie here. While he gets ready, let's check his friend Fred Couples at the 7th tee.
179 yards for Freddie up the hill, wind coming from the left, and he's pulled it. It's headed toward this pot bunker.
Mark it, roll back in.
Now back to Floyd. This for a birdie. -5. Got it working. That will stay for Nick Price.
The wind has come up just a little, Brent, but it's still not too bad. Tommy Kite's trying to save par here. Played what looked to be a pretty good second, but it just didn't hold at all.
That's a great story about his putter. His father down in Texas bought it when he was 2 years old. His father used it and then passed it on to him when he was a youngster. Here he is. Won the United States Open with that putter. And until you folks write me a letter, we've got him down as the only cross-handed putter to win the United States Open Championship.
That's our story. We're sticking to it here.
Wonderful line. They're insisting that Orville Moody was not putting cross-handed on that weekend when he won the United States Open.
He may have looked like he putted cross-handed, but he didn't. That was in '69 in Houston.
Nick Price. He could be a factor here, huh? Stays at 3 under. You know, I wonder what old Tom Morris would think if he could take a look at what has become of the British Open Championship. 121 years ago, there were only a handful of competitors, and Peter Alice found an actor in London who can help him out on that subject.
Well, I've been very privileged to meet a lot of very famous golfers in my time, all that have been around, in fact, but never one perhaps as great as the gentleman on my left. Old Tom himself, Tom Morris, the keeper of the links at St Andrews for more years than all of us care to remember. Sir, I am delighted to meet you.
Pleasure, sir.
Here at Muirfield now, the Honourable Company of Edinburgh Golfers. You were here last 100 years ago.
Aye, it would be that, Peter. 1891 I designed the course. Of course, played in that Open in 1892.
Did you? How old were you then?
Oh, I was 71.
71, a mere slip of a boy.
Aye. Well, of course, they changed it to 4 rounds, you see. I'd been used to playing 2 in the Open Championship. I was 50th. There was only 52 playing, but I say I was 71 at the time.
Can you remember your scores? They're engraved on your heart.
Oh, well, I suppose they'd be about level 5s. Aye.
Very different today, sir. Any parts of the course that you recall at all?
Probably the stone wall's about the only thing I remember here.
Yes.
I remember the first hole was a short par 3 and then a a short 4. This is vaguely familiar to me, but of course it's all changed now.
This is now the present third hole. Now, you were saying you averaged 5. The winner that year, 100 years ago?
It was a Mr. Harold Hilton.
Harold Hilton.
I can't mind his aggregate.
And now, would he have used clubs like these?
Yeah, he might have used a clique, but these are earlier clubs, really. There's the old play club from the 1850s. You see the whip on that.
Yeah.
That would belong to Alan Robertson, the world's first golf professional, that one.
How many clubs would you have carried in those times?
Oh, about 6.
About 6. And did you have someone to carry them, or did you just pop them under your arm?
I had Doe Anderson. That's Jamie Anderson. He was a 3 times winner of the Open. His father carried me from 1850 right through.
Now, Tom, what were the golf balls of the day? Was there anything superior, considered superior to any other?
Well, of course, these are featheries. I started as a feathery ball maker, but that went out in 1849. You could just say it was the biggest explosion in golf was this fella here.
What's this guy?
Gutta Percha.
Really?
So you'd have to give your caddy maybe 6 or 7 of these balls, half a crown a shot.
Really?
Oh, that opened up the whole game to the people.
And was that it? Was that was it? Was it?
6 strips of rubber, hand rolled.
Yeah.
Heated up more.
Hardly round. But they did the job, of course, more consistent.
Well, you actually scarred them to get a better texture on them. You found that when they got the chip, they move better through the air.
What do you think of it all now as you look back and remember the times 100 years ago, and you look now at the stands and the tents and the galleries? What do you make of it all?
Well, I remember the last Open I saw in 1907, and there was an exhibition tent, and I thought that wouldn't be a popular thing. So it just shows you how things have changed.
Are you happy with it? Do you think golf is in good hands?
Well, it's a changed game now, sir. I mean, those crowds come just the same. And of course, we had 10,000 people watching our early matches in the 1850s, but you didn't know that.
Did you, really?
Aye. Oh, aye.
All well behaved, of course.
Oh, we had a lot of trouble with the parks, you know. Oh, aye. Willie Park against Tom Morris, Edinburgh against St Andrews, you know, Musselburgh against St Andrews. Aye. Oh, aye.
Was there a few wagers struck and a few drams drunk?
Oh, we played for £400 against the Dunn brothers, Alan Robertson and I. 1849, £400. Well, on the last hole, 72 holes we played. Some celebrations that night.
So you got a bob or two?
Oh, aye, in my time.
Sir, it's been a great delight to meet you, and I'd like to think we'll meet again in another 100 years.
Ah, well, we may just do that.
Wouldn't we all, Steve, like to meet up again? Now, Freddie Couples at the 7th here in this bunker. So Ian Woosnam in at 65 and 1 off the pace. Has to be disappointed in how he finished up with the day. And let's go to Frank Hannigan.
Ian, a very good start, but a disappointing finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just had a couple of bad drives, one on 17th left and one on the left on 18th into the bunker, and a bit disappointing because I played so well for 16 holes.
Do you prefer these mild, warm conditions, or would you rather see it blow a little bit?
I think today was a perfect day for scoring. You know, it's a little bit of wind out there, keeps it a little tricky, but today I think that, you know, you're going to see some good numbers out there today.
Now, remind us, what's the closest you've come to winning this championship?
I finished 3rd in 1987, I think. Oh, maybe 86 at Turnberry. I came 3rd to Greg Norman. But I've had a few top 10 finishes, but it's always a good tournament. It's the tournament I want to win as well.
The conditions are quite different than they were when we last saw you on a dreadful Sunday at our Open in Pebble Beach, aren't they?
That's right, you know, but, you know, at least here, if you do go in the rough, you've got some sort of chance of knocking on the green or chipping and putting around the green, and the greens are not so severe, and they're not so fast either, and, you know, if the wind does get up here, it's made for, you know, hitting a few wide shots and able to score when you are hitting a few bad ones.
Well, Ian, it's a very, very fine start. Thank you for coming over, and back up to the booth.
Thank you, Frank. So Woosnam and Faldo off to good starts. Couples, though, struggling, and Davis Love is at 1 under.
Couples finished 3rd in this championship last year, too, Brent.
Not on a day for scoring. Freddie Couples hasn't been able to get it going. Not yet. want to point out a name on that leaderboard that we were unfamiliar with today. Orin Vincent, United States player who's on the European circuit and playing quite well, 5 under through 12 holes. And that's the young man right there, wearing the glasses, and we will be certainly keeping an eye on him. Now this is Payne Stewart, 7th tee, moments ago. Stewart is playing with Fred Funk. So, Fred playing well today.
Nice to see him come over here. You know, he won at Houston for the first time. He's exempt by virtue of being among the top money leaders at the close of entries. Would have been real easy for Fred Funk to stay back in the States and play, but instead he's over here playing in the Open Championship.
Steve Pate, for those of you just joining us, fired a 64. Didn't qualify for the final 2 rounds of the U.S. Open. Played last weekend in Virginia. Over here, Cristino Rocca of Italy, 35-year-old Italian pro who was working in a plastics factory for 10 years before he went back and became a club professional, and he has had one of the rounds of his life. Vijay Singh grew up in Fiji, now plays on the European Tour. Came to Dublin, Ohio, and our Muirfield did quite well, winding up in the top 10 over the United States. Had 4 brothers who played golf. One of them was on the Australian circuit for a while. Colin Montgomery, he would be a huge favorite here. Young Scottish golfer, 1 under through 6. Rocco Mediate, he's under par through 7. Jumbo Izaki of Japan, even par. Davis Love has now gone to even. Jeff Sluman out on the course, even through. There's Gary Player at the 13th tee on this par 3, Steve.
Very exacting par 3, set among 3 dunes. We've seen that follow through many times.
It's one way to transfer weight, isn't it?
Now the players will begin to play the wind. It is freshening somewhat out here, as just as we said earlier, the early players did in fact have the advantage.
At 12, Floyd for birdie.
He hit a wonderful second shot from out of the right-hand rough, played a low shot that just carried the front bunker, and ran up onto the green about 25 feet, same line as Kite.
Now, isn't this something?
Well, he's only birdied half the holes he's played. That's not bad.
13. Here's Tom Weiskopf on this par 3. 3 over for the day.
Won at Troon in '73. Has an exemption in this tournament until the age of 65. Wonderful acknowledgement of the past champions here by the R&A.
Now Nick Price is at 4 under, and this to get the 5.
This group just pulling each other along. They're really all playing very well. Raymond Floyd, Steve, has actually made 7 birdies because he made a bogey back there at 8. 7 out of 12. That's not too bad.
No, it's not.
So Nick, he'll stay at 4 under.
I think he's a player that other players think will play well here. Brandon, talking to them this week, they like his chances.
Stewart for birdie at the 7th.
What an Open Championship record he has. until last year, had 4 consecutive top 10 finishes, been second twice. Loves it over here.
Let's go back to Kite for a par at 12. A little distracted by the camera just behind him.
And that was just somebody in the gallery outside the ropes, somebody that was over at the other green, right beside 4th green.
So the greens are rolling true, aren't they? And here's Player for a birdie at 13. Now you can see that wind picking up a little bit as we look at that shirt flapping.
Won his first Open Championship title here in 1959. Finished 3rd last week at the Senior Open, Brent, in Saucon Valley.
Got some advantage miles on Air Nicklaus following that championship. Flew over on Jack's Gulf Stream to Scotland.
And
now here's Stewart.
They played the next morning, too.
Away just a little bit, got something blowing up in his eye. Has to feel right at home in Scotland. I've seen a lot of knickers over here this week. Probably not the colorful combo that he's wearing out there on the course today.
I suppose they know who the Detroit Lions might be.
Now you'd be surprised. You know, American football is popular over in Europe.
That's right. You were here for a while, weren't you?
My London Monarchs. So it's a United States golfer. Steve Pate with the lead. In Woosnam of Wales, along with Raymond Floyd. One back. Ray Floyd at 13.
159 yards downwind. That's an 8-iron.
This is the breeziest we've had it today, isn't it, Rossi?
Yes, it has come up. I'd say it's blowing about 15 miles an hour right now.
Now let's check back in on Greg Norman. He's 1 under. He's at the 4th tee.
Spin left. Spin left. Good air.
Olazabal playing with him. He's even par. So the situation here in the first round of the 121st British Open. The last time it was here back in '87, Nick Faldo was the winner. Conditions were horrendous over the weekend, and Faldo shot level par all the way around for 18 holes on that final Sunday to wrap up the British Open Championship. And there will be big headlines tomorrow with both Faldo and Woosnam now in the chase for this championship, and several of the United States stars up there, and a South African and another player from Italy. Truly an international flavor to this championship. These grandstand seats that you frequently see around the golf course out here, they are sold and they are reserved, and you'll see them empty much of the time. But come Sunday afternoon, and Jim McKay has remembered so many of those championships in how crowded it'll all be around here.
Well, Norman has to fight speeding up the pace of his swing as the wind freshens here. He looks good over the ball. He's very steady, very upright, weight evenly distributed between his left and right foot. And as he takes it away, low to the ground, looks good going back. And from there, the club face, which is always a key to Greg's swing, right down the target line. So everything looks in good form here. This is a little quicker swing. This is actually a good swing for the wind. A little bit like Lanny Watkins, a little foul, a little faster pace swing. Watch as he takes it back, kind of cups it under going back, and then drops it back down to the inside. Kind of reroutes it going through the club down the target line at this point, though. And the moment of truth as Greg shifts his weight to the left side. It stays back. Right side extends down and under. Right foot slides forward. For Norman, everything looks in good shape. For Olazabal, a little quicker move to the left side. Spins out of the way a little quicker than Norman does. A little faster, more fluid lower body. Yet the results very much the same.
Now let's check in on Orin Vincent here at the 14th hole. The young man who plays on the European circuit.
From Washington, Brent, as you mentioned, he qualified last fall as a successful applicant for the European circuit for 92. Really did so with a final round of 67, playing in his first Open Championship.
Playing with a competitor from France and another one from Sweden. So the European circuit, so certainly the wind quickening shouldn't bother him too much on the way home. Let's see what happens here. Harry. Olazabal.
Putting back into the wind now.
That was the first of the par threes, the fourth. Nick Price at the 13th. Now this is the third of your par threes on this championship course.
Nick from about 30 feet coming down the hill, but putting into the wind, as Steve just mentioned. It's a big switch here if you're putting with it or against it.
Rossi, what about the difference in conditions, say, in the last 2 hours?
Well, I'd say the wind has gotten up another 10 miles an hour. I don't think the greens have changed a whole lot. They seem to hold the ball about the same, but it hasn't gotten any colder, Steve, and I think that's a big thing over here.
Norman, his birdie attempt here at the fourth.
Just 6 years ago, won the championship at Turnberry, lost it in a playoff to Troon. 3 years later, was Calcavecchia.
Just breaking away there at the end. Now Raymond Floyd, another birdie attempt, and this for the share of our lead.
He got a good teach from Price, same line, a little shorter.
He's at 6 under Rossi and just missed on a couple of other birdie putts. Now let's go back to young Vincent here at 14. This for a par.
team playing very difficult today. 449 yards.
Big mistake there, that one. Now Kite, 13 for birdie. Here's Player's second shot at 14.
Playing right into the teeth of the wind. A long iron for Player's second shot. Small pot bunker to the right of the screen comes into play for any shots come up short.
Hook a little more. Hook a little more. Perfect. Perfect if I hit it.
Kite, meanwhile, tapped in at 13. Steve, we've got 17 players now, 3 under or better, and 8 of them are Americans. Steve Pate, of course, setting the way with a 64. As for par for Raymond. Here's Sluman at the 7th tee. Against that gray sky here in Scotland. Conditions have been ideal for scoring. Jeff not too happy with that one. So it's a nice little first round unfolding here at Muirfield. Steve Pate shoots that record-tying opening round. Ian Woosnam gives one away at 18, and now the great veteran Raymond Floyd going back out after that lead finds himself trailing by 1 through 13. There are 42 United States golfers in this field of 156, and 28 of those 42 are now under par. And I wonder what odds you might have had if you'd said that was going to happen, and one of them would not be Freddie Couples. And now we welcome Jim McKay. And
Jim, because it's a very fair course. It has flatter lies, flatter stances than a lot of the championship, less sort of humps and hollows that you often get at the seaside. And I think good greens. It's set up beautifully. It's very much as the members would find it. There's no tricking it up. There's no very fast greens. There's no narrow fairways, no deep rough. They've said the course, this is it. This is Muirfield. It's produced great winners, and they are hoping that it will produce another one this week.
Well, for those of us who may have just joined us back in the States, it's just after 4 o'clock in the afternoon over here. A lot of golf yet to come, but the weather's been a big factor. It's been very uncharacteristic Scottish weather, I would say. It's been warm, it's been muggy. There was no wind this morning, hence the low scores, but now it's coming up.
Yes, it looks as though the early starters had the best of the day, and that's often what can happen at the Open Championship. You get half the day is calm or very windy, then it's calm in the afternoon, vice versa. Very much to do with the way the tide, well, when the tide changes. And I think those who are in the clubhouse will be very happy to be so. There's a few good players still out there. Greg Norman, he's 1 under, and you've got Raymond Floyd, of course, doing a tremendous round of golf, and he's nearly home. He's good enough. He'll nurse it home, I'm sure, but somebody rather like Greg Norman, he's going to have to work very hard to be close to the Steve Pates this evening.
All eyes of Scotland are on Colin Montgomery, the 29-year-old Scottish player who was 3rd in the United States Open and is the great hope here. It's been, must be 60 or 70 years since a Scot has won the Open in Scotland. Sandy Lyle, of course, won it down in England.
Yes, and that, of course, Jim, is very much a sort of added pressure for Colin. He's been the sort of the talk of Scotland ever since the United States Open at Pebble Beach, where he looked for a moment as though he might possibly win it. And that's put a lot of pressure on him, a lot of interviews and things, but he's the most determined British player I've seen perhaps since the arrival of Faldo. And I think although he's got a sort of slightly what we would call an amateur swing, it's sort of long and slightly wishy-washy, tremendous play and tremendous determination.
Here is perhaps the most determined player of the last 50 years, Gary Player. Still at it.
Yes, and still believing that not only he can qualify, but he can finish very near the top, if not win. And I think his presence on the seniors tour has done wonders for his sort of competitive spirit again.
Gary first came here as a 16-year-old amateur, I believe, a long time ago. Fred Couples now from the American Tour, the reigning Masters champion. Here's this hole, the 9th.
Yes, and I think you could arguably say one of the very best, if not the best. It's a marvellous hole. It's back into the breeze, and whereas they've had 2 or 3 eagles at this hole today, they won't now be able to get anywhere near it in 2, I don't think. The further you drive, the narrower the tee shot, so you've got to think about what club off the tee. That's in normal conditions. And then, depending on where the wind is, there's always a bunker waiting for you up somewhere near the green.
Well, they'll be playing until 8 o'clock or later this evening. Would we expect, as the sun begins to go down, that the wind might go down again? So those who have late starting times might have a break also?
Very possible. Either that or it gets up more.
Or if it stays the same.
It's
True expertise we're offering here, aren't we?
Yeah.
This putt
Jim,
for
I've been a
eagle
little
for Freddie
surprised
Couples.
with Fred Couples about that he doesn't seem to have sort of trained on since doing so well back in... he got to his $1 million and the win at the Masters, and he's been very quiet since then.
That, however, was a birdie. The first putt, his eagle attempt. He always looks very loose, very relaxed on the golf course. They used to think maybe he was too relaxed. He's more focused these days. Now here to the United States Open champion, Tom Kite, one of the most popular U.S. Open winners we've had in a long time, Bruce.
Yes, and I think I wouldn't quite say a lap of honor at the end of his sort of golfing race, but one that nobody would quibble with all that he's achieved in the game. And I thought sensed at Pebble Beach an enormous warmth when he won. I really thought it was marvelous, because most people had sort of thought that the moment had gone. He'd had a few opportunities, cast them away. As we go to Raymond Floyd, second at the 14th.
Well, look at this. 6 under par, Rossi.
He's from 200 yards directly into the breeze, has a 2-iron. Might have lost it to shade right.
Yep. He's had very few off-line shots today, though. Remarkable. He'll be 50 years old on the 4th of September, just about a month and a half from now, and playing still at the peak of his game.
Wish I could say for myself, same for myself, because I'm exactly the same age as he is.
Is that right? It's been
about
slipping away a bit, has it?
Oh, yes, yes. Round the greens, particularly.
Kite also has 200 yards, taken out a 2-iron. Hole playing a lot longer than it did earlier. Woosnam hit a 5-iron from 170 when he played this hole. That wasn't very good. That's squirting to the right.
Going right, yeah. Trickling into the second cut of the rough there.
And, of course, right back into the breeze, this one. This, again, they were reaching with mid-irons, and now some of them will even be playing a couple of woods to get home into.
Now Orin Vincent, the 23-year-old American, lost a shot on the last hole, but certainly playing well in his first British Open championship.
And he's based himself over here. He's been to our qualifying school last year, made his cut, playing a few tournaments here, and we haven't seen very much of him.
There we go. This was just a moment ago. Wayne Grady of Australia at the short 7th hole.
In 1 under par for the first 6. Back into the breeze, 3-iron.
Nope, didn't like it, or else he got a bug. No, he didn't like it. And there you see why. Going into one of the deep pot bunkers here. Wayne Grady, 1989 was in the playoff for this championship. Here's Nick Praggs, originally from Rhodesia. Been playing on the American Tour for a good while now.
Very difficult pitch. Going to run away from him. Wind coming out of the left. Has enough green, but it's still a very hard shot.
Whoops. Rolling on and on. Nick Price is 4 under at this point. Now Orin Vincent.
And he's got the wrong side of a saddle here, Jim, at 15, and it's going to be very difficult, but to get particularly the judgment of distance right.
Yeah, there you see. He's left himself something for sure. Tom Kite, third shot at 14.
Another tough shot, not too good a lie.
And he'll need that for his par.
Raymond got a terrible break with his shot. It buried on the downslope of the bunker. If you ever say a shot is impossible, if he can get it out within 25 feet, he's going to have played a great shot. He's got to aim a little right of the flag. Can't really go right at it.
And those layers of turf in front of him, pretty steep wall, huh?
That is a sensational shot right there. Beautiful golf shot.
Well done. Now, Orin Vincent for a par.
So he drops a second consecutive shot, and of course, 2 difficult holes coming back into the wind. And also having risen up the leaderboard, he's going to find it very difficult to hold on. And in fact, that is a par, so he'll stay at 5 under.
4 under.
4 under.
Yes. In his first British Open. Nick Price. 14th hole, long par 4. He needs this.
Yes, this hole, Jim, has very much now become a sort of 4.5. There's no doubt about it. And I think if the players, and the 15th runs in more or less the same direction, and if the players could get through these 2 holes in sort of 9, then I think they'd say, well, at this particular moment, that's about par. You see those 3 bunkers up the left-hand side. Again, they really come into play, or the third one doesn't because of the wind against. Price, who's come so close twice in this championship.
Came close with that one also. I remember he was battling Tom Watson for the championship, and on the next to last hole, a par 3, his tee shot just came up short. Looked like it should have run on. It didn't quite make it.
We heard it pitched in a divot, an old divot, and died on him. And of course came very close against Seve Ballesteros in 1988 at Royal Lytham.
Like Gary Player, Nick Price likes to watch the horses run.
And have a financial investment, no doubt.
Yeah. Hear the seagulls crying in the background from the Firth of Forth.
And the gull in Gullen, or Gillen, Jim, is after the birds.
Is
French for guillon. Guillon.
The French are talking about the town we're in, spelled Gullane, pronounced by the locals Gillen, right? But
Gullen by the Gullenites and Gillen by the rest of the world.
All right. Tom talking to himself just a bit, as we all do when we play golf. So he goes to 1 under.
And I think, Jim, very difficult to come to a championship
Floyd from about 10, 12 feet. This putt's going to go abruptly to his left. Very difficult putt. save. Just a wonderful save by Raymond to stay 6 under par. We've had a little power failure in our announcer booth, but we'll be back to Jim and Bruce in just a minute with Raymond Floyd trying to get in and hot on the heels of Steve Pate. With the power failure in our announcer booth, we're going to go to the BBC Pictures and Sound and take you up to Alex Hay.
Keep hitting it as straight as he's been hitting it all day. He's got a great chance to pick up another birdie. Oh, and that's right in position A, down the right-hand side of the fairway. Beautiful shot.
Great start by Steve Pate today, that round of 64, but he was reflecting afterwards that he's not really taking anything for granted, because he looked back at the US Open where he started with a 68 and finished that with a second round of 80. But he reckoned it was just about the best he played in the last few months. Round of 64 from Steve Pate, best of the day so far. But great credit to Ian Woosnam, one shot behind, and also to Ray Floyd, who we're watching out there at the moment. And Nick Faldo justifying his position as pre-championship favourite with his round of 66. Costantino Rocca and Andrew McGee in the group at 4 under par. But it's Pate's day so far, although Ray Floyd is attempting to do something about that. Craig Parry of Australia, 4 under par with Per Ulrich Johansson, who qualified to get here. Orin Vincent, we're following his progress closely. And Gordon Brand, early stages of his round, and look at that, he's picked up 4 shots in 8 holes. Nick Price going well today, a player who always plays well in the Open Championship and always seems to come to the Open Championship in some kind of form, and he's reproduced that today, 3 under after 14.
Payne Stewart for a 6 at the 9th. Big break from the right. Well, the break came after it passed the hole.
Now this is Gary Player for a birdie 3 at the 15th. Well, not bad, a little to the right though. Player remains 1 under par. 3 par, if he can make that one and then make 3 pars, he shot 70. And that 38 years after his first Open Championship isn't bad. Gary's, this is Tom Weiskopf, who hit it over the green, and he's hit his 3rd shot to there, and he's got this to save par.
Well, it's about 4:30 of a pleasant Scottish summer afternoon as we resume our live coverage of the first round of the British Open. Ray Floyd, a few moments ago, with his birdie attempt on the par 3 16th hole. Close, but no cigar this time. Well, there's the way they stand. Steve Pate, the Californian, shot a marvelous round of 64 today to seize the lead, at least for the moment. Ian Woosnam of Wales shot a 65. And now, as you see, he's tied with Ray Floyd, now playing that 16th hole. Nick Faldo was 5 under today, as was Ernie Els, the young South African. Lee Jansen from the American Tour, not a very well-known player, but an up-and-comer in his 20s, 5 under par. Craig Parry, they call him Popeye from Australia, small guy with the big arms. Andrew McGee, 4 under. And Johansson, the young Swede. Rocca of Italy. Orin Vincent, the 3rd, is an American from the University of Washington who plays the European Tour. That's why probably you haven't heard of him. Gordon Brand Jr. there, and some of the others. There's Lee Trevino at 2 under par. Fine round of 69 for Lee today. John Cook, very much a factor there at 3 under because he's only played 11 holes. And Greg Norman, 2 under after 5. There you see Ronan Rafferty's 2 under after 6. Lots of possibilities with a lot of golf to be played here this afternoon. Billy Andrade had a good round today, 69. As you see, well, I said 4:30. It's 4:32 now of a Scottish summer afternoon. This is Jim McKay with Bruce Critchley, and that is Ray Floyd.
He's actually playing the 16th hole now, Jim. He's hitting his tee shot at this par 3. The putt for birdie you saw was at 15.
Thanks, Rossi.
Very hard to get the ball close right now with the wind coming out of the right and behind the players. Good pin placement.
Is it still picking up, Rossi? Or
no, it's just hanging around 15 miles an hour. It's not getting any harder.
Does it have that real bite in it, though, that this seaside wind sometimes gets?
No, it doesn't,
Like
Jim.
that?
Yeah, I think so. The wind's still feeling pretty strong.
Players hitting 7 irons right now.
Fun today. What do we got to carry that fun today?
4 more yards, 67. What do you think?
Conference at the summit between player and caddy.
Nick has probably gone to a 6 iron and try and hold it from left to right up in the right to left wind.
Stay right there.
As this wind comes up, Bruce, we'll see the breeze affecting the putts as well as the other shots here, too.
Yes, it would have Jim to get a little bit stronger than this, I think, for it to oscillate. But quite a few of the greens are set up here and could well be exposed to quite a strong wind.
Tom Kite has a 6 iron. Needs to get in with one more birdie. If he can get in with 69, he'll be all right. Be a good start.
All right, safely on. There's a good view of the golf course with the Firth of Forth beyond. A firth, I guess, it's wider than a river, and it's not quite a bay.
It's a Scottish word, effectively, for an estuary, I think we'd call it.
Estuary, good. Greg Norman. He didn't like it, but as you can see, he's a long way from the flagstick.
That
was on
was
tape. Now we're live in the same group with Jose Maria Olazabal of Spain.
the 7th hole. This the short hole.
My God.
And really, since he almost won the Masters last year, that he really has not played to the best of his potential, Jim.
And again, there's how they stand. Steve Pate, followed by Ian Woosnam and Ray Floyd out on the golf course. We return again to our first round coverage of the British Open, coming to you live from the fabled Muirfield Links, not too far from Edinburgh. And that's Ray Floyd in the middle of your picture. At 6 under par on the first round. He's in a tie for second place with Ian Woosnam, who shot 65. Tom Kite about to putt.
Some 40 feet coming up the hill.
Reigning U.S. Open champion playing with a former U.S. Open and Masters champion. Here we come. Good putt. Looks like our American players may be able to mount a bit better challenge this year than we have in recent years, Bruce, so far.
Yes, this is Orin Vincent from the back of the par 5 17th. His third shot. And really, I think not making that big a fist of his. We go back to the 16th and Raymond Floyd.
Interesting about Orin Vincent, he's playing so well today, but on the European Tour, he's played 15 events this year and has missed the cut in 10 of them. He's only earned about $8,000 total, 4,900 pounds.
Yes, certainly we've covered about, 4 or 5 tournaments already, and we've never seen him. I mean, I have to admit, I went to the book when he started shooting well to discover he was playing on our circuit. But Ray Floyd now, I think, has covered the difficult holes and covered them very well, and great chance at the next to pick up a birdie and join Steve Pate at the head of things. As Rossi was saying, you couldn't really get very close to this pin downwind. The pin is cut out just beyond a shelf that runs off the front of the green. But putting back into the breeze.
Hold it. Hold it. So we have that coming back with a par. Now here is Davis Love for a bogey on the 12th hole.
Well, he's been all over this hole. He was very fortunate to make bogey. Davis Love, even par for the day's round.
Well, that'll put him one over.
Him at 1 over.
Right. Thank you, Jerry. His chances were fancied by a lot of people over here, Bruce, weren't they?
Yes, again, I think his year has been very much mirrored Fred Couples, who a tremendous run up to about Easter and then not a lot since then.
Right.
This is Nicky Price at 16.
Trying to go 4 under. And just burned it there. We need that to stay at 3 under for the championship and very much in contention. Now, Orin Vincent still 4 under. He needs, this will be his birdie attempt on this long par 5. And
Jim, that's very much like a shot dropped. Really, if you don't make your birdie there, it's had more birdies than pars, certainly up to about half an hour ago. As we go back to the 16th, and Ray Floyd for a par putt, and I think his previous putt was very much one misjudging the breeze more than the actual pace of the green itself.
Now he's putting downwind.
It's getting harder rather than easier, surely.
Well, he's made an awful lot of par putts this length in his career. Let's see. And he's made another.
Yes. Of course, this, Jim, is the only championship he hasn't won, only major he hasn't won. He's won the other 3, and only, what, Hogan, Saracen, Player, Nicklaus have done the Grand Slam, albeit in different years.
That's right. It's a very, very select group. He'd love to join it, and he said so. Now, Greg Norman. This is the short 7th hole. Can he make a birdie? Not quite. Greg has been playing very well of late. It's been a long road back after injuries and bad breaks.
The 16th. Price to save his par. The players have all been very complimentary about these greens.
Here we have a family affair up here on 18, don't we? The player and wife caddying, I'm told. Is that James Spence? No?
Might be Ian Spencer.
No, we'll get a reading on it. Anyway, it's true love on the golf course.
Ian Spencer is, he again is one of the sort of romantic stories, rather like Kevin Jones earlier in the day. Had to come through all the various qualifying competitions, husband and wife team, but he was 75 and 68 at North Berwick to get here, and in a sense almost that's the what he would have set out to achieve, just to get to the Open Championship.
See, the wife, however, uses a trolley. She's not going to trundle that thing on her back all the way.
Looks a little delicate for that, I think.
Yeah. Good shot. Pulled up on him a bit. Not bad. Into the wind on 18. You'll see those flags blowing straighter and straighter if the wind keeps getting up here. It's supposed to be nice weather tomorrow, but maybe we'll get some of that wild open weather on the weekend, they tell us. Now here's John Cook on the 13th tee.
Hole playing downwind today, 159 yards. That's an 8-iron, leaking a little to his right. John 3 under par today, has had 4 birdies and 1 bogey. Playing really well.
And they can see even the rough is blowing in back of him. High weeds. One of the many grandstands around the course. Total was 16,500 seats, I believe.
Just over that, yes, more than they've ever had before.
What about Davis Love? 1 over, Jerry. Is he up and down, or what's the story of his round?
Well, Jim, he's played a lot of weird shots for Davis. You know, the wind has just recently picked up where you need to start knocking the ball down, but he's played a lot of knockdown shots when he didn't need to.
Now here we have Ray Floyd on 17. Now, this, you say, Bruce, is the must birdie hole, really.
That's right, but you've got to be very careful off the tee, and it's a great par 5, as is the 9th. You want to keep as far away from those bunkers that have just gone out of your picture as you can, but the nearer you are to them, the better the second shot in, and particularly today when you can reach the green in 2.
This, of course, is the hole where, from a terrible downhill lie over the green, Lee Trevino pitched into the hole to seize the championship from Tony Jacklin in a very dramatic finish here in 1972. It's also where Paul Azinger got into a bunker just when it looked like he was going to...
Yeah.
Azinger had led by a shot over Nick Faldo until he got in that bunker.
Took 6, and it was the same bunker that Trevino was in, had been earlier on that day. And I must say it must be very difficult for Trevino playing around here, not to sort of, it's not like going around a picture gallery for him, I would think, admiring the places and the things that happened to him.
Now back to young Mr. Vincent. This is the 18th hole.
The danger here, Jim, is all up the left-hand side, really, the 2 or 3 bunkers. He's in fact just skirted by the solitary bunker on the right-hand side. But if you're going to be on the safe side, it should be on the right of this fairway. Now he's in good shape there. Back to Fred Couples.
Let's get back to Freddie for a bit here.
Freddie's got about 40 feet nearly here at the 12th for birdie. Very uncharacteristic round for Freddie. He's 1 over par. Really, he's driven the ball very well, but a good example back at 11. He only had about a 70-yard pitch, knocked it over the green into a bunker.
What does his attitude seem to be out there today?
Seems pretty good. He knows there's a lot of golf left to be played. It's tough starting this late in the day and seeing all those low numbers up there before you even tee off. Should break to Fred's right.
That's what he thought, too. And so it goes in the first round of the British Open. We'll be back by the Firth of Forth in a minute or so. The 121st British Open, first round play. We're coming to you live from Muirfield in Scotland. Steve Pate leading by 1 over Ian Woosnam. You can see they've finished their rounds today. They've played their 18 holes, but Ray Floyd is still out there within a shot of the lead. Now this is John Cook for a birdie at 13.
From about 25 feet downhill. Putting back into the wind, needs to hit it.
At 3 under, he has some birdie opportunities still ahead of him. Great crowds for the British Open. There'll probably be more than 100,000 for the weekend, right, Bruce?
Yes, they reckon now around about the 30,000 mark is an average per day. And they've already had some 25, 30,000, and even on the practice days.
Davis Love's birdie attempt.
Jim, to finish my story about Davis Love, of course,
please do.
We are often cut away from the BBC picture, but David has been up and down with bogey on 1, birdie on 2, bogeys on 4, birdies 5, birdies 6, bogeys 8, bogeys 12, and this putt here for a par. He's just been all over the golf course today.
Up, safely down. Now Orin Vincent at the 18th hole, 4 under par.
Yes, he's just crept by the right-hand bunker. He's got about 185 yards to go. The wind off the right-hand side, but he's got to be careful that he'll feel wind where he is, but the grandstands on the right will block the breeze as he gets close to the green.
Playing in his first British Open, he may not know that. 23 years old. From the University of Washington, and he's come up just a little short.
And over the other side, nice position to come back towards the pin.
Now Cook needs this for the par. Okay. Spotting some Americans among the leaders. We have Steve Pate, Ray Floyd, Lee Jansen, Andrew McGee, all in the top 10. Now Ray.
That was Raymond from 240 yards, just trying to run it up the little neck. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Still running, though. Let's see. Just over. And a little bit down the bank there. So Ray will try to get up and down from there as we take another break. While we were away, this was Gordon Brand Jr., as he is known, born in Kirkcaldy, Scotland, one of the Scots in this championship. There's another Gordon Brand. This one is not the son of the other one. They just put the junior tag on him so they know one from the other. Is that right, Bruce?
Yes, he called himself junior, but the other one for a long time was known as senior. Didn't fancy that, as he was only in his 30s, and gave himself an extra initial in the middle, Gordon J. Brand. But this is a man who's been in the Ryder Cup team. Well, both of them have.
And playing well today. He's 5 under par for this championship. Now Fred Couples.
Wind starting to freshen right behind Freddie. This is an 8-iron from 159. Very high shot, going to carry well back into the green.
And he didn't seem to like it. Well, that's why. He's gone over. And that far from the flagstick.
It's almost harder, Jim, playing downwind here than into it for players of this class, provided they haven't got an impossibly difficult long shot to go. You really lose control of the ball and the conditions. You don't get the bite that you would do either without any wind or playing into it.
Some of the spectators, they're here from all over the world, but most of them are Scots. And do they love the game here? You know, some American players, first time over here, are deceived by the short flag sticks. Bruce, is that true on the other side? Well, when your players go over and have our 8-foot flag sticks, does it...
No, well, again, they are an anomaly or a peculiarity of this particular course. They are short, just to stop them really bending over in the strong winds and damaging the holes.
But if you're not used to them, it makes the green look like it's further away than it actually is.
That is correct. Of course, all these players are really barely concern themselves. It's all yardage charts and distances, and they know exactly how far they've got to hit the ball, and they also know how far they hit it with each club. That was Ernie Els chipping from the edge of the 18th green. Very much aware that he's got a very good score going.
Mark O'Meara at the 14th hole. This is his 3rd shot on the par 4 hole.
1 under par. In fact, level par now.
They show us even. So we'll go along with the superimposition for the moment at least. We'll see. Well, let's go over to 12 now. Here's Payne Stewart, the 1991 U.S. Open champion, sporting his little Miami Vice 3-day growth or Yasser Arafat, something like that.
Langer's got one as well. I don't know whether it's the season of the year. Seeding, I think we call it on greens.
Now there is a long putt. Must be what, 80 or 90 feet? Comes.
Well, the green itself is 42 yards in length, and the pin cut very well to the back.
It could be 100, could be 100 feet. It was a beautiful putt, by the way. Tom Kite, 3rd shot, 17.
Very tough shot to stop, coming straight downwind. Very little room. Kite's as good as there is. But as you see, there's just no way you can stop that ball by the hole.
Par 5 hole, so he'd need that for the birdie that you hope for on this one. But as Rossi said, downwind, it's pretty darn tough, isn't it? Now back to Fred Couples, the Masters champion, 13.
He's no longer downwind. He's dead into the wind right now, Jim, because he's hit it over the green here. He's going to putt the ball. It's down the hill, fairly fast putt, even though it's into the wind. It's going to break to Freddie's left.
Well, sitting down a bit for a putter, too, isn't it?
It is very much drier and wispier grass than he'd go in the United States, and a wonderful job he's made of it.
What a putt. Gorgeous putt by Fred Couples.
He's been over here a few times. He knows that you keep the ball on the floor as much as possible in links-like conditions. Seaside in Great Britain.
Good afternoon for the state of Washington here. You have Fred Couples, who was born in Seattle, and Orin Vincent III, who plays his golf at University of Washington. Good day for the Pacific Northwest. Speaking of Orin Vincent III, here he is on 18.
This for his par, this for a round of 67.
What a fine way to finish, huh?
Great finish and a great round. Marvelous. And again, another little bit of romance. And, of course, a very good chance now of making the cut and playing the last 2 days.
Well, as we said, you know, he's missed the cut in 10 of 15 tournaments he's played in over here. For the year, he's earned about $8,000, which would no way pay his expenses going around the European Tour. Suddenly, he shot 67 in the British Open, and he's in the hunt. That was going on. This was Ray Floyd's third shot on the par 5, 17th.
Chip and run into the wind. Beautifully played.
Oh, just what a touch the man has. Payne Stewart for a par. In the colors of the Detroit Lions. I'm sure everyone here knows that, Bruce. All right.
They do. We had a couple of stabs at it before.
That's Kite's birdie attempt. So Tom Kite will be putting for a par on his next one. As we leave you for a minute or two, only to return.
ESPN's presentation of the 1992 British Open is brought to you by Range Rover, the most sensible driving car in the world, and by Phillips Petroleum, the performance company.
We're back again at the British Open, and there's the way they stand. Ray Floyd now tied with Steve Pate for the lead with 1 hole to play. He could seize the lead with a birdie on the 18th hole. Ian Woosnam shot 65 today, and there he is, a stroke behind. Nick Faldo with 66, as was Ernie Els, the young South African. Lee Janzen, the young American. And Gordon Brand Jr., who's still out there with 7 holes to play. He can make a real charge. Craig Parry of Australia, old Popeye. Andrew McGee had a good round today. So did Johansson, the Swede. Roca, the Italian. And Orin Vincent, who just finished up. John Cook in the fight. He's got 5 more holes to play. Nick Price has a couple more. And here's Payne Stewart.
On the short 13th, 159 yards straight downwind, and you were talking of the Dolphin Lions.
No, the Detroit
Lions, beg your pardon.
The Dolphins live in Miami.
Beg your
the Lions
pardon.
live in Detroit. That's so perfectly
Detroit.
all right. All I know is Tottenham Hotspurs, and after that I'm lost.
We referred to it as sort of the Blues and the Greys, and that's a well-known one of the Queen's regiments.
Okay.
But his tee shot at this short hole, and let's see, none of the players now can get the ball to stop close to the pin, and of course the flag showing you how rough the wind is.
The blue and the gray in our country refers to the Civil War. You get military about it, of course.
Better back off.
North was the blue, the south was the gray. another look. Just get this set in your mind that Floyd and Pate are now tied for the lead, but Ray still has a hole to play. Woosnam is finished for the day. Faldo is finished for the day. Ernie Els is finished. So is Lee Jansen. But Gordon Brand Jr. is out there with 7 holes left to play. And whether the wind will stay up or go down is a question at this time of day. It's just after 5 o'clock here in Scotland. This is Jim McKay with Bruce Critchley. I want to thank you, Bruce, for stopping by and taking time out from your BBC duties. Now you go back and work for another 3 or 4 hours, right?
Indeed. Well, it's been a pleasure, Jim.
Okay, but we'll
Maybe
see you tomorrow.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We are, however, being joined right now by another of our BBC colleagues, Alex Hay, one of the outstanding teaching professionals in these aisles over here, and BBC commentator. What's your observation about this so far, Alex?
Well, Jim, you know, this is my home territory. This is where I was brought up, and this has been a very mild, calm day as far as we're concerned up here. There's not any possibility that we can have 4 days of a championship in these conditions. The scoring that you've seen today, some wonderful scoring. Steve Pate, superb round. We were very pleased, of course, on the British side. It was Faldo going so well, Woosnam going so well. But I have a great feeling that an awful lot has got to happen in this championship. The first, the fourth has never let anyone go away free.
No question about that. Now, this is the hole that Ray Floyd has to play. He's on this hole now, the 18th, 448-yard, par 4. Floyd at 7 under, and there he is. The wind there, Rossi?
A little, but it's actually died from when we were back there at 11 and 12. Raymond has killed this one. Just killed it.
And as the camera moves across, there he has it. You're right about that, Rossi. Now, Gordon Brand Jr. at the 12th hole. And I would think his gallery will be growing when word goes around the course that a Scot is challenging for the lead. Whoa. Hold it there. Gordon. We'll have that one left now. Not an easy one. Why don't we go downstairs now to Frank Hannigan? He's with young Orin Vincent. Let's find out something about him.
Well, Orin Vincent is a Yank on the European tour. Orin, how's it been going for you over here?
It's been a long year, but I'm learning a lot. Getting better each week.
What do you miss about the States? You've been over here all the time.
The good food. I miss home.
Okay. As it happened, I knew your dad when he was the director of golf at the Edgewood Tahoe course in Lake Tahoe. What's become of him?
My father's in Las Vegas now, and he has 2 golf courses there, and he's doing real well. He's here this week caddying for me.
Your dad's caddying for you?
That's right.
Did he? How did the two of you get along today?
We got along well. No fights. Everything went fine.
Okay. This is your best week so far. It's your best round, isn't it?
That's right.
Do you hope to stay? Will you stay on here, or if you had your choice, would you come back to the States and play on the U.S. tour?
I think right now in my career, I'm better over here, and I'm happy to stay here until I feel it's time to go back home.
You obviously have a lot of friends and contemporaries who play on the U.S. tour. What's the difference in conditions?
The conditions over here vary each week. The green speeds vary, and the weather really varies. So, those are the biggest differences.
Okay. But, gee, thanks for coming. It's wonderful you shot that great round, and say hello to your father.
I will. Thanks a lot.
Okay, now Gordon Brand needing this for the par to stay at 5 under. Alex, you must know this man well, a fellow Scot.
Yes, I know him very well, Jim. And talking of sports, as we've done, his father was a professional footballer with the Raith Rovers, which just across the first or fourth had 5. But he's now a professional golfer. When he gave up soccer, he went to teaching golf, and he's down in the Bristol area.
Unusual combination. Payne Stewart for a long birdie attempt. You could use a couple right now. No? Or is it? Yes. Looked like it was dying there for a moment.
Yes, if you get a little bit downwind on the seaside links and downhill, it's a great combination. Payne Stewart
brings him back to even par. Now in 14, this is Davis Love, still one over, needing this for a par. We're told that Paul McGinley has had a hole-in-one on the 7th. First of the tournament, puts him one over par at that point.
Well, Davis has looked at this putt from about every angle you could possibly look at, and once again missed the screen, playing back into the wind.
Nope. So it's another bogey for Davis Love. Not off to a fast start in the British Open at all. Now, Paul McGinley, just about a minute or so ago. Watch this one. There it is. Hole-in-one. Don't see too many of those on television these days.
No, you don't. It doesn't seem all that long since Tony Jacklin scored the first one we ever saw at Royal St. George's away just before he started on his great career.
Paul McGinley is Irish from Dublin. Turned pro just last year. Plays the European Tour. His last start, he was 6th at Monte Carlo, so he's moving up. John Cook. Okay. The Monte Carlo golf course is a marvelous little thing. Montagel up on top of the mountain, built into terraces. Tom Kite on 18.
Has 175, has a 5-iron. Wind coming out of the right.
Hold that line, baby. Hold that line. Right.
Okay. Bruce Priestley was mentioning, Alex, that actually the golfer can be deceived coming up 18. He sees the flags that the wind is coming from right to left, but doesn't realize perhaps that the grandstand blocks some of it.
No, you're absolutely right. You can see the flags there on the right of the grandstand, and so, of course, the player must be very wise and look up to the top of those stands, because down there, you can see Raymond Floyd a little bit confused about it. Why are the flags blowing, he's saying to himself, when it's so still down here. And this is the experience you have to have. It'll be even worse when bodies fill every seat, as they will at the end of the Saturday and Sunday evening. Some of those stands are reserved seats, and unfortunately they often stay a little bit vacant. But it won't be that way come Sunday evening.
Nay, laddie, it will not. All right. Rossi?
Raymond is 154 yards to the hole. He has a 7-iron. Tremendous drive. Drive of 290 yards. A good-looking shot.
Oh, I would say so. We'll reiterate that, as we said before, that this is the only one of the major championships that Ray Floyd hasn't won, and he's positioning himself extremely well right now. Back at the British Open again. Here is Greg Norman looking over a birdie attempt at the 9th hole. Norman. 2 under to this point. Moving along very nicely.
Jim, this is one of the holes that's quite notorious, the par 5 9th. There's a stone dike runs along close to the green on the left-hand side, and the players are always very conscious of that when the wind is coming off slightly the right-hand side. There's the plan of it. The 2 bunkers in the center of the fairway force the player out to the right. The further right you go, the more you're coming in diagonally towards the wall. And it takes a very brave man. Fred Couples hit 2 great shots in here. Norman with this for a birdie 4.
That left for the par. You know offhand, Alex, how long has it been since a Scot won the Open in Scotland? Sandy Lyle, of course, won it at Royal St. George's in England. Long time, hasn't it?
But there are not too many of them. I think you'd have to go back towards the beginning of the century. It is actually exactly 100 years since the Open Championship came here from Musselburgh, which is just along the coast, only 15 miles. In those days, it was played every 3 years at Musselburgh. And then when the Honourable Company wanted to bring it here, their prize money was £30 for the whole event. And Musselburgh said, we will give 100 if they would come. And the bidding went up to 130, and the Honourable Company won it.
With the big money.
And it was Scotsmen that used to win then.
Tom Kite.
It was a very well-received victory by Tom Kite, the United States Open, as we go to Gordon Brand. Short hole, the 13th hole.
What should we know about him, Alex?
Well, he's a Ryder Cup player. He's a very good player. He's had a couple of sort of lean years, but a very competitive young professional.
Here's a very competitive old professional, as athletic ages go. Nearing his 50th birthday, Ray Floyd. Those on the senior tour are beginning to quake in their +4s already. He comes out there. Is it enough? Not quite. Not quite. So the par 4 brings Ray Floyd in at, here it is, 64. Marvelous round, equaling the round turned in earlier by Steve Pate. So, at the moment, the Americans share the lead in the British Open. 1 stroke ahead of Ian Woosnam, who had a 65 today. 2 strokes ahead of Nick Faldo, who had a 66, as did Ernie Els of South Africa, as did Lee Janzen of the United States. And Gordon Brand is still 5 under, of course, out on the course. And here's his attempt at a birdie on 13. It's like Freddie Couples a while ago.
Yes, absolutely. Down the hill and down the wind. Here is
Speaking of Freddie, here he is on 14. Still warm, muggy, uncharacteristic Scottish weather, isn't it, Alex?
Yes, it's not like the weather we have on the 1st to 4th on this particular coastline. I'm sure, you know, we're very tidal here. Every 6 hours the tide changes, the weather usually changes with it. So there's no way in a field that starts off at 7:15 when the last player tees off at 4:15, there's no way that you will get a day that will change, stay constant. This is why players are often concerned in championships, the change in weather. Here's Nick Price to drop a shot.
Yep, that's the bogey on 18 for Nick Price. So he comes in at 2 under for this championship, 69, nothing wrong with that. Stays in the fight. And a long fight it will be until Sunday. Tom Kite for his par. Tom 1 under.
Hold it. Just.
All right. Tom Kite in with a round of 70. This is a par 71 golf course, not 72. He'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back in a very brief time. Let's take a break. There are the joint leaders in the British Open at the moment, Ray Floyd and Steve Pate, 2 Americans tied for the lead. And in recent years, Americans have not been winning this very often. There's only been 1 American, Mark Calcavecchia, to win it since Tom Watson's victory in 1983, 9 years ago. Let's take a look at the scores now. Perhaps you've just joined us. Let's see. Well, it's, almost 25 after 5 here. Yeah, it's lunchtime. You may have just turned it on in your office or someplace. There it is. Floyd and Pate tied for the lead. One ahead of Woosnam. He had a 65 today. Faldo with a 66, as did Ernie Els of South Africa, young player. Lee Jansen, the young American. You saw him there. Greg Parry of Australia at 4 under with Andrew McGee. Ronan Rafferty of Ireland. Johansson of Sweden. Roca of Italy. Great international field. Orin Vincent, the young American, just came in with a 67. John Cook is 3 under, but he still has 4 holes to play and birdie opportunities there. Jeff Maggart, 3 under today. Fine round of 68. Rocco Mediate with him. And Larry Mize, the former Masters champion. Darren Lee, an amateur, in at 3 under par. That's outstanding. Greg Norman, 2 under, and he's only played 8 holes. Lee Trevino had 69 today at the age of 52. It was just 20 years ago he won the British Open on this golf course. There's Lanny Wadkins, Corey Pavin, Billy Andrade, all of the Americans. Steve Elkington from Australia, Nick Price, Vijay Singh from Fiji, Billy Ray Brown, who is certainly not from Fiji. Billy Ray Brown from the south. There's Calcavecchia, the former champion. Forrest Brand of Sweden, who played well in our Open Championship. Tom Pertzer, Mackenzie, Larry Rinker. Kevin Jones, a club pro, who had a 69 today from some more British and golfers here. Ian Baker Finch, the defender, is at even par. Gary Player had a nice even par round of 71. Chip Beck there. Craig Stadler. Mitch Boches, the United States Amateur Champion, at even par, round of 71. Excellent for him. Jeff Sluman at even. Roger Davis of Australia. Mark Brooks. Canizares. Heath Clearwater. David Faherty. Oh, I like the music, too, by the way.
I love the music.
You like that? I thought you liked that,
your
Alex.
pronunciation is fantastic with all these Spanish.
Is that all right?
Yes,
Thank you.
excellent, yeah.
Thank you. McNulty there. Wayne Riley of Australia. Romero, McClellan, Betty George. Chris Gray and Dave Paget. Robinson and Rowe. Trimble and Couples. Payne Stewart, Mark O'Meara. Richard Oxall.
Yes, Richard's the man who broke his leg in the Open Championship last year when he teed off at the 13th and his shin snapped, and he had a long time in Plaster Paris, but he's back fighting it out again.
Russ Cochran, the left-hander there, is 1 over. Des Smith, he had a great run in this championship. Was it 8 or 9 years ago, I guess?
Yes, Des Smith, who's one of the few players to win tournaments back-to-back in the European circuit.
Tom Watson, 5-time British Open champion. Davis Love there, Jumbo. Sam Torrance, another of the Scottish hopes, long hitter, 2 over. Another amateur, Mike Welch, 2 over. John Daly, 3 over on his first round in the British Open, a round of 74. You saw Curtis Strange there also with the same score. Another amateur, Pullen. Jack Nicklaus, 4 over, round of 75. He'll have trouble making the cut tomorrow, it looks like, the way the scores are coming in. More at 4 over. Gary Wolstenholme, the current British Amateur champion, at 6 over par. Christian Post at 8 over. So, we've taken you pretty much all the way through, and now back with the leaders. This is the way it is. And the only one of those leaders who's still in the course is Gordon Brand Jr. of Scotland. But here is Jose Maria Orazabal's second shot on the 10th hole, 475-yard par 4.
Hit a bad drive in the right-hand rough coming from a bad angle also. Wind behind.
Up, look out. Well, now, how about that? That's what you call a gathering bunker, isn't it? Huh?
Yes, they're all gathering here. They have to have them deep like that in case the wind blows the sand out of the place. They're all pot bunkers just by tradition. There's the measure of the hole, 475.
There is a practical reason for it, huh?
Oh, yes. I mean, we wouldn't have any sand in any of the bunkers along this coastline unless you make pot bunkers. Now, Greg Norman at the 10th.
Greg still 2 under par. No bogeys so far. And here he comes, but will it stop? Yeah. Or will it? Yes. Just about.
Only just. A great friend, Greg, of Nigel Mansell. They always sort of coincide, the Open Championship and the British Grand Prix.
Payne Stewart trying to get into red numbers to get even par here. We'll have this birdie attempt. Looking it over well. Well, we're going to have a little time. Let's go back to Jose Barria at the 10th.
Yes, Jose, one of the great bunker players in the European Tour. Wonderful touch. Just
Yes, he is.
Ballesteros before him.
Lovely shot. John Cook needing this for a par to stay 3 under. 4 shots out of the lead. And there it goes.
To the 10th. To Greg Norman. This for a birdie 3. Tough hole is 10th, into the left to right crosswind, a very long hole, 475 yards.
We have a moment now. Let's go over to Frank Hannigan. He has the remarkable Ray Floyd.
Raymond, what a great round. How many greens did you miss?
I missed one green, Frank. I missed the 14th green and made an unbelievable explosion out of a very embedded lie against the wall. I made a fabulous shot and then made a 8 or 10 foot putt for par. That was great.
That was great. Now, Raymond, we're gonna. You know, I know you're not Crenshaw, but we're gonna have a golf history quiz. Can you name the 4 players who have won the 4 major professional championships?
Yeah, I can name them, Frank, because you helped me with the 4th. I knew 3. Yeah, they're Saracen. I thought it was Hagen, but it was Saracen, Hogan, Nicklaus, and Player.
Question number 2. Can anybody join them this week?
Well, I've got a chance. I guess I'm the only player with a chance. I don't know how many players here that have had the other 3 majors, but that'd be a fabulous company to join.
It sure would. Raymond, what keeps it going? We've talked about that. Do you have any idea what keeps it going?
Oh, I'm a late bloomer, Frank. You know, I didn't lose my baby teeth till I was 38. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. It's just, I really love what I'm doing, Frank. I've got a lot of support behind me, Maria and the children. I want to be competitive, so it makes me work. And I don't think there's a secret. I think you have to work at whatever it is you do to be good. And I think to want to work, you must like what you're doing. And I very much enjoy what I'm doing. And it's fun. I really do still enjoy what I'm doing.
Well, work, but how does work convert into the kind of thing that enables you, as Rossi told us, you did hit it 290 yards on the 18th hole?
Well, I'm healthy. I haven't gotten to a point where my suppleness is gone. And I think age, from what I can see of age is a number. But I think the aging process is suppleness. And I have stayed flexible. And I think that's the key to my longevity. But I work very hard at trying to stay flexible. But I think that's the key. My swing, as long as I can get my swing up and turn my shoulders good, I think I can play golf. I have days when it's cold that I have a lot of trouble doing that.
Well, may the suppleness continue, and may it all stay with you throughout this week, Raymond. Thanks for coming over.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it.
Here's Fred Couples. Second on 15.
Just over 140 yards. Freddie at 1 over for the day still.
Oh, that pulled up on him. You don't see that too often in these holes. So the wind blows and the competition goes on, and we're going to come back. We return to the British Open. Jim McKay with Alex Hay of the BBC, and this is Colin Montgomery, the young Scot who played so well in the U.S. Open Championship. It looked like he might win it for an hour or two. Here he is for a birdie. And...
Well, it's not been a Pebble Beach kind of day, Jim, for Colin Montgomery. He's 4 over par and really struggling.
Not so with Gordon Brand Jr., still 5 under, third shot on the par 4 hole, however, the 14th, 449 yards. Can he get it close? No. He's got a chance. Alfred Couples up on 15.
Freddie's got about 25 feet here at the 15th. Playing along with Rocco Mediate. Rocco in this group clearly been the class of game 38. Rocco's at 3 under. Freddie at 1 over. Colin Montgomery at +4. Freddie's driven the ball very well today. Has not hit a lot of good iron shots. This one was dead on the flag, but came up a good 30 feet short.
Any change in the wind out there?
Oh, it's about the same, Jim, as it's been all day long. Actually, a beautiful afternoon. Fred yet to make a putt of this length today. This to get back to even par.
There's the break, and it's not enough.
I mentioned before, Rocco Mediate clearly has been the class of this game. He's 4 shots clear of Fred Couples. He's actually 7 shots ahead of Colin Montgomery thus far after 14 holes. Rocco, of course, made the long putter famous on the regular tour, but now has gone back to the conventional putter. He's putted very well with it today, made 4 or 5 putts of 6 to 8 feet.
This is his second British Open. He didn't make the cut last year. Shot rounds of 76 and 75. Rocco, born in Greensburg, PA, not too far from Pittsburgh.
Told me a little while ago he's just thrilled to be here and be part of this. Really loves the game.
Played in the Scottish Open just last week, tied for 17th.
Actually, Jim showed up at the Ryder Cup last year as a photographer. Worked all 3 days. Just loved it.
A good putt. So 29-year-old Rocco Mediate on the verge of the great years of his career, perhaps, moves along in the British Open. You could travel very, very far to find a more beautiful sight than the Firth of Forth in the late afternoon of Scottish summer day. The clouds just fluffy and kind of sitting still there at the moment. Reflection on the water and the links of Muirfield in the British Open. We're privileged to be here.
Yes, and Gordon Brand here at the 14th. Putt for par.
He's got it. That's the stuff of which championships are made, isn't it, huh? You have to make those. He stays within 2. 4 holes to play, a couple of birdie holes in there, too. And what else is happening beneath the scudding clouds of Scotland? Well,
yes, it's quite a glorious view as you look up towards Edinburgh in that direction. And there's the leaderboard with Raymond Floyd and Steve Pate, who are in and sharing the lead at 7 under with Woosnam and Faldo not far behind. Craig Parry, the Australian golfer who spent a lot of time on the United States tour. Ronan Rafferty, who had a rather rough season last year, but 4 under here in the championship and just past halfway. Constantino Rocca, the Italian golfer, a very good 67 for him. There's Tom Purtzer, who's the man of the classic swing. We always admire watching him play when the pictures come across to this country. 3 under after 17. Lee Trevino, a great favorite who won here when he almost destroyed Tony Jacklin in 1972. And Bernhard Langer, the German, at 2 under. Corey Pavin, who's been having a little bit of a rough spell as far as we've seen lately, at 2 under. Steve Elkington, the Australian golfer, I think will go very well, a winner in the United States. Vijay Singh, tall, elegant swinger, at 2 under. Kalkavekias, who seems to thrive on championships, and one of the top European players, Anders Forsbrand, at 2 under after 18. Malcolm Mackenzie, another professional footballer's son, would you believe? Now, Ballesteros there, he does do some strange things in championships, and I hope he hasn't left himself too far behind at 1 under. Payne Stewart, always delighted to see him, although he's not been quite so good this year. And they are still out on the course. Sandy Lyle, 1 under after 16, making a bit of a recovery. Above him, Hale Irwin, and we do enjoy seeing Hale, of course, a late winner of the United States Championship. Peter Senior, who's been enjoying good golf this year, winner down in Cornwall. Barry Lane, the former Scottish Open champion, playing with Gordon Brand Jr. today. He's 1 under.
Speaking of Tom Purcher, as you were, here he is. The man whom his fellow pros say has the best swing on the tour. So Purcher is down, and by the way, you saw Larry Rinker at 2 under. We're told he's gotten another birdie and is now 3 under par. There's Deborah Couples following her husband every step of the way, as so many of the wives of professional golfers do. You know, the only friend the golfer has out there is his caddy, and if his wife is in the gallery, it really helps for morale purposes.
Yes, it does. As we watch Freddie's partner, Rocco Mediate, tee shot at the short 16th.
Wind behind the players right now here at 16. They need to carry the ball all the way up to the middle of the green because it's pitched severely in the front here.
And there you see, he's just gotten on the front edge momentarily. Look at this.
Yes, they're very big greens at Muirfield, huge greens, but if you ever dolly about with the fronts or the sides or the back end, then you have a price to pay. Fred Couples, Fred at 1 over, 188 yards this hole.
Pin cut on the right today, tough spot, protected by a huge pot bunker right in front of this 16th green.
He's come up short too. Going to stay there, though, it appears. Not too happy with that. 11th hole. Here's Jose Maria Olazabal. The birdie attempt. He's 1 under, playing with Greg Norman.
Yes, we'd like this young Spaniard to get a good start in this championship. When he, a year or so ago in the United States Masters, when on the 18th, we thought he might be going to pull that one off, and Woosnam did it. He rather broke his heart, and he went into a decline. He was getting his confidence back, and a similar thing happened. This year he loses heart, and that really is his, well, I say it's premature to say downfall, but he'll have to override that.
He should talk with Tom Kite, who it took 23 tries to win the U.S. Open. That look that all golfers have on putts like that of how could the gods of golf do this to me? You know?
He's a very good player in the wind. I think, as a lot of the Europeans are. I'm not saying United States players aren't good at it. They're maybe not quite as experienced. The north coast of Spain, where this young man comes from, they get wind all the time, something like this east coast of Scotland.
Ronan Rafferty. Rafferty is 3 under par. He was 4 under, but then he was just bogeyed the 12th hole. Back to Payne Stewart. Is this for the par? Are they +4s or +2s he wears? You would know that, Alex.
+2s, these are.
+2s.
Yes.
Okay.
+4s are much bigger than
that. They're the big balloony ones.
Yes, you need a suit length for those. All right.
And the par is safely down. And the beard continues to grow. I don't know whether this is going to go on until Sunday or not with these fellows.
Well, I think he probably stays on for a while. He's got the Dutch Open that he has title to, and he'll be staying probably to play in that. So a nice visit to Europe for Payne, and most welcome.
If the beard keeps growing, he'll look like one of the Dutch masters by the time he gets there. Here we are. This is on tape. Rocco Mediate on the par 3, his second shot.
And those are the shots you've got to be very good at on the coastline. A little chip and run. But Colin Montgomery at the 16th, and he's his bad form, bad luck, whatever it is. He just lost the Scottish Open Championship last week, and since then his luck seems to have gone all wrong on him.
Yeah. That's going to spin off, it looks like.
Yes, an incredible finish there when the Australian golfer covered the last 5 holes in 13 shots, and 2 of them par 5s.
He had 3 birdies and
2 eagles, absolutely right. It was very difficult to work out about 2.5 strokes a hole. It was an amazing finish.
Young Peter O'Malley was the one who did that. Here's Greg Norman on the 12th. You see the distance, short par 4. He's 2 under.
Playing a little more difficult today, Jim. Right into the breeze. Tough pin placement, too.
Why don't we have a look at this one?
Yes, 381 yards. Going out into the wind. It's probably a hole. There are 18 good holes on this golf course. They've always said that about Muirfield. This is probably one of the easier ones. It gives you a chance to hit the drive down the right half of the fairway and not worry too much.
Ola Thobel. See the wind blowing the trees.
And that's the ideal side to go on, but you mustn't get into the thick rough. You have about 10 feet of semi-rough, and then you get into the real rough stuff.
You'll seldom see trees on a Scottish links course, and those do not come into play. They're actually off the course. Now back to Fred Couples.
Well, Freddie's got nearly 35 feet here at the 16th. This is the 3rd hole in a row. He's had birdie putts of this length, so not really giving himself a lot of chances at birdies here. This is not an easy putt. His ball well below the hole. Actually, a little bit lucky that it stopped where it did. We saw Rocco Mediates come up short. Colin Montgomery's second shot rolled off the front edge. Freddie trying to get back to even par. Should break to his left up on top.
Well, we didn't see it, but we heard it. Beautiful birdie by Freddie Couples, trying to get into the fight here. We'll follow him some more. While we were away, Gordon Brand Jr. in the fight in the British Open first round at 5 under, going for a birdie. Yep. Good putt, though. 12th hole. Here's Ola Thobel's second shot.
Ola Thobel is 170. Has a decent lie in the rough. Sometimes a lie like he has actually helps a shot into the wind, especially with the flagstick cut so deeply in the green. It's way back, 34 paces back from the front edge, sort of on a little peak at the back of the green. Very dangerous to try and shoot it back there.
Now let's see if that lie does help it this time.
It's going to have to get up.
It's a long way from the hole. Long way. Rocco Mediate still playing well. Par putt a moment ago.
He's made a bunch of these today.
And he's made another. To stay at 3 under the championship, just 4 strokes out of the lead. Now on 12 we have Greg Norman, the Australian, back on his game again, and good to see him there. 2 under.
155 yards, 7 iron. That's way left.
Now, let's see what happens there, because Greg has yet to have a bogey on today's round. Birdied the 5th hole and the 10th, and that's been his round, but could have a problem here. Now Gordon Brand for the par. All right, he's down. Still 5 under.
Yes, a good opening round this for Gordon Brand. He usually lets things get away from him a bit. He did that in the Scottish Open after starting well. And it's nice to see him putting a good round to later on in the day.
He's never played well, really, in the British Open. He's played in it 14 times, has missed the cut 9 of the 14. I think his best finish was tied for 19th 10 or 11 years ago.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
John Cook, haven't seen him in a while. Second shot on the par 5, 17th hole.
Interesting to see if he can get up. That bunker on the right-hand side is forced players to play away to the left, some to lay up. Just at the left edge of the green. Way back to the tee, Fred Couples. The line is on that camera tower. You see the white tent just to the right, the large...
yes.
That's the line. You want to hit it on that tent. You mustn't go left. You saw what has happened to Azinger this morning. He took a 6 here by doing that. Of course, you might be more powerful if you can carry the bunkers. There's a lot of them.
Perfect.
Everyone's saying perfect. He may have gone on a little further than that.
May have outdriven the camera.
300.
That ball definitely was left, Alex. We couldn't tell down here at the tee whether it did clear the bunkers or not.
Sure don't see it on the fairway. Check that out. Now Rocco mediate.
Freddie gave me a little smile after he made that birdie 2 back there at 16. I said, nice putt, you finally got one. He said, yeah, I can't understand why I haven't made more of those 50-footers today.
Yeah, that's right.
Rocco's driven the ball very well today.
Yeah.
Remember, this is where you'd like to get a birdie on the par 5 hole.
He hit this one hard and right down the center.
That's a beauty.
Yes, they're going much further this afternoon. The wind that's freshened up has made this hole very much in range for drive, long iron, even middle iron with some of the long hitters. But it's a treacherous hole, whichever way. Now, this is Colin Montgomery, who moves everything in the air left to right. He's actually trying to create a draw which is all against the grain for him.
Do you feel this course favors either a left to right or a right to left player?
Most Scottish courses prefer the right to left player rather than the fader. Mind you,
that one's down the right-hand side.
There it is. It always goes to the right-hand side, Mark. He's always a cutter. That's where at Glen Eagles last week he just couldn't play the 18th hole.
Okay, well, we'll rejoin the adventures of Fred Couples and find his ball when we come back. It's still Floyd and Pate. Greg Norman's third shot on the par 4 12th hole.
And
short
a
par 4.
very difficult one. Sorry, Jim.
No, it's okay. Couldn't stop it any closer with that, huh? On 16, Payne Stewart at 1 under par. Okay, good putt. Olafable also going for a birdie.
This is from about 70 feet up the hill.
Yep. We watch it. Yep. Lovely putt. Very nice, from 70 feet. Just about 6 o'clock in the evening over here in Scotland, and here's how they stand. Floyd and Steve Pate leading with their fine rounds of 64 today. 1 shot ahead of Ian Woosnam, who had 65. 2 ahead of Nick Faldo, who had 66, along with Ernie Els of South Africa, Lee Jans of the United States, and Gordon Brand Jr., who's still out there with birdie possibilities. Craig Parry of Australia, Andrew McGee with his new beard, played well, or his mustache. And there you see the other leaders. Alex Hay of the BBC has been with us, outstanding teaching professional and commentator, and we hope we'll see you again tomorrow. Alex, thanks for being with us. It's been fun.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. You know, those of us who've been coming over here for a few years kind of become like salesmen for the British Open. It's been delightful to see that Brett Musburger, at his first British Open, has caught the whole thing. You really get it, don't you?
Oh, I certainly hope so, Jim. I've had a lot of good help with you and the rest of the fellas, and it has been magnificent all week. I must tell you, with the weather like it is today, Jim, I keep waiting for the British Open to begin. When I see a leaderboard with Orin Vincent at 4 under par, and no Freddie Couples and no Davis Love, a couple of Americans at the top, and Steve, I think that Raymond Floyd's year is worth some talk on your part. It's really wondrous what he's doing.
At age 49, Brent, you think logic says he's going to just maybe gracefully play his way onto the senior tour, and that hasn't happened. He's been a real contender this year. He almost won the Masters. Here he is at 64, leading the British Open. The amazing thing here is that the oldest winner of the British Open is old Tom Morris, who won this championship in 1867. At age 46, so Raymond already 3 years his elder.
That wasn't him who was with us, though, earlier.
Peter Alice had somebody with him there.
So it has been quite a first round here so far. As the British players are concerned, I think everyone has to be delighted with the fact that both Nick Faldo and Ian Woosnam are up on the first page of the leaderboard. But here's a golfer, Gordon Brand Jr., and what he featured most often at British Opens was not making the cut. I think he's been here, this is the 14th time, and Steve, I don't think he's made the cut, but about 3 or 4 of those occasions.
Very unimpressive Open Championship record. A lot of pressure being a Scot.
Now here's Norman for a par at 12. Good save that.
Very good save on a par 4, which you shouldn't have to work so hard for that score.
So out on the 17th, that historic hole that Jim McKay was describing for you and all the wondrous things that have happened there, we see Rocco mediate.
Rocco's got just over 230 yards here. Perfect position in the fairway. Wind slightly behind him right now. Shot's right at the flag.
Get word that John Cook eagled 17, and he has jumped to 5 under right now. So another one making a late move with 18 to go. Here's Ronan Rafferty now.
The Northern Irishman. That was at 14 for his par.
Part of the crowd. As we pull back from that well-protected green, you can see it with some mounds there on the side. Norman now stepping up to the tee here.
159 yards directly downwind. Just a nice smooth 8. Hole slightly uphill.
To the green. Bob Rosberg, what's Greg Norman's play been like today here in the first round?
Well, I joined him fairly late in the round, Brent, but he hasn't been overly impressive. He's made a couple of nice little saves for pars, hit a couple of errant drives in the rough. This group is getting way behind. It's very difficult for me to imagine that somebody isn't going to say something. The next group is on the 15th tee.
Now Olazabal.
He's coming off a 3-putt bogey.
And a roar echoing from elsewhere here at Muirfield. I'm sure we'll be finding out what that is about here in a moment, and we'll continue. moments ago on 16. Here's Gordon Brand for a birdie. Just sliding by, knock that in, and stay at 5 under through 16. And now here's Couples. This is for an eagle at 17. Long way to go for that eagle, isn't it? This is just moments ago. Oh, well done birdie for Freddie, starting to make a bit of a late move here. And our other star, Davis Love, in trouble.
Davis hit his tee shot up against the metal crowd control fence here. He really is not close enough to get relief. It must interfere with his swing or his stance because he's inside the fence. If he was outside the fence within 4 club lengths, he would be allowed relief. A free drop.
An up and down round for Davis, Jerry. By my count, is it 5 birdies now for the day?
He's been all over the place, Steve. That's right. And he's back to even par. He's struggled back in and brought it back to even after being 2 over. He has about 210 yards into this wind. Of course, I'm across the fairway. It's difficult to predict what he'll hit from there. Probably 4 iron, as strong a player as Davis is. He caught it hot coming out of there, sliding to the right. Nope.
Into the bunker. Gordon Brand parred out at 16. Short little putt we left him with back there. And there's Davis Love's lie in the bunker. Green side. Now, Olafable, he has a birdie attempt back on 13.
Streaky putter. Brent, when he starts making putts, he seems to all fall, or he pitches a shutout. He put on a performance at the World Series of Golf 2 years ago when he won by 12 shots. The world sat back and took notice.
Now John Cook, he reaches 5 under through 17. This is his second shot at 18.
He has a 4 iron from 180. Perfect drive. Pin on 14 right in the center. Very good shot for John.
Come on, Wind.
Wind did not bring it back to the left. Wind is really amazing here between these grandstands.
Well, they see those flags out there, Jerry, blowing straight across, and the grandstand cuts down that wind. Is mediate with a birdie to pull to 4 under. Now, it's interesting that the biggest bet that William Hill reports on the championship, someone backed Fred Couples for 2,000 pounds at 16 to 1. A calm Firth of 4th on this opening day of the 121st British Open Championship. I think our colleagues, Steve Melnick over at the BBC, went on the air about 7 o'clock this morning. Actually, it was more about 10 or 11, wasn't it, when Peter Allis and Alex Hay started going to work over there, and their favorite, Nick Faldo, 2 back of Raymond Floyd and Steve Pate, who fired brilliant rounds here today. We just got the weather forecast for tomorrow. Overnight rain, occasionally heavy clearing, the course by the morning with the day dry. Some bright or sunny spells, especially in the afternoon. Wind out of the south-southwest, 15 to 20 mile an hour gusts. Michael Benalik.
You missed your call.
Pass that along. It's like as we go through the speaking of the BBC, I think we should check out how their coverage is. Maybe we can learn something.
Why not?
So let's join them now. They're taking a look at Roger Davis, so let's join Peter Allis and Alex Hay.
Putter deserts you. It takes a long time to line up the blade and then down the shaft. Not quite as low down as Langer, but the right hand holding the left forearm and taps in. And all a bit of a struggle, because if you're a bad chipper, you don't always have to chip on every hole, but you certainly have to putt on nearly every green, unless you chip in. Oh, putting at least 50% of the game. Sky is getting a bit dark and heavy, but really is a wonderful setting. Cook, and if you're wondering what the little badges are, those little round badges which are pinned on various parts of the player's anatomy, that's their competitors' badges, which they issue every year, gets you into the grounds, into the clubhouse. Nice souvenirs, and he holed a monster on the last, and I thought he'd done it again. And what a good score he's put together. He's had a very good run on the US tour. Won one, he's been seconded. He's a rather mercurial player, but very good strike. There you see out in 32, and then dropped the stroke at the 10th. Monster putt at the 17th for an eagle 3, and 32, 34, 66. Now Davis Love. He's level, and he's got this for a 70. Sandy Lau finished with a couple of birdies, so suddenly from doing nothing he's ended up with a 68, which will please all his supporters. And Davis Love here with this little putt for around a 71, which won't really please him because he's the top player this year on the United States Tour, and you can see he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drop strokes, a very in and out round. 71, if he holds this, will put him 7 behind the joint leaders Steve Pate and Ray Floyd. And this is no pushover either. He has a quick sort of look at the hole. He almost strikes the putt before his eyes have come back to focus on the ball, so a chance for a 3 and a rather untidy 5.
From the back of the 13th green, Malcolm Mackenzie having a fine round of golf, 3 under par. This putt from the back of the green from about 20 foot for a birdie. Still 3 under. This one needs to go a little bit. There's a little ridge towards the hole, and that's a beautifully judged putt.
So that was Peter Allis, and unfortunately for Davis Love, that was a double bogey at 18, going into the bunker with his second. So we wound up with a 6 there in a very disappointing round, 73, and we'll come right back to Muirfield. Greg Norman, second shot on this 449-yard par 4.
From 180 yards into the wind with a 4-iron.
Come on. A lot of conversation for a pretty good shot.
Trying to get his 3rd birdie, isn't he? Now a couple second shot at 18.
180 yards from a good lie in the rough for Fred.
Yeah, mounting a bit of a strong close there, Mark.
Well, he's brought it back well. Looked like he was in trouble at 1 over at 11. Had a very difficult bunker shot, and now could get in at 69.
Stewart for the eagle at 17.
It's amazing to get his second shot that close with that flagstick cut so close to that right-hand dune.
Olazabal in trouble here. A little bit earlier. Got it out of that wispy That grass, you see that he was wading in. It looks much more difficult than it is for the boys. They can get a blade down through there and get it out. It's not that binding stuff because they've had a drought condition here. Run on Rafferty. Ran it in beautifully. Just getting that putter working here, and we can see on our leaderboard that was Rafferty's par saver there on 15 that we looked at. Low scores. The wind stayed down throughout the day. Now Olafable at 14.
Young Spaniard kind of holding his own in an afternoon that really has not given up too many low scores.
Now Gordon Brand at 17, second shot. He is at 5 under, so he could pick up one here, couldn't he, on this par 5 that the boys have been reaching? You bet. Now these 64s that we have had shot here today, that ties the record for the lowest first round in the history of the British Open Championship. Craig Stadler did it at Royal Birkdale. Christy O'Connor at Royal St. George's. Roger Davis did it here at Muirfield in '87. And Norman, a birdie opportunity. He had 2 birdies on the front, and he's played level par so far on the back.
I like it slightly left to right, and maybe coming towards me at the end. How would I get?
Greg is putting down the hill. Going to come to his left just a little, putting from about 25. Maybe 30 feet. Really was a little unlucky with his iron. He hit it so solid it went right through the wind, got past the hole.
Mediate put together a fine round. He was at 4 under. He could move into that tie with Cook and some of the others at 5 under. Faldo in at 5. Els, Jansen. Little log jam there, isn't it?
Rocco's putting from just off the front edge here. Played a very steady round today.
Just nibbling.
He will be near his hometown next week, Brent, as we move to Oakmont, Pennsylvania, in the Women's Open Championship next week. Rocco from nearby Greensburg, just outside of Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Looking forward to seeing that wonderful golf course and the challenger it presents for the top women in the world. Now, Freddie Couples here. He has gotten himself back to under par. Trying to add to it. This would be just a delightful way to wind up this round.
I really think, Brent, even if he has 2 putts for a 70 here, Freddie's got to be happy. I mentioned before, really wasn't playing very well at all till he got past the 11th hole. This putt's only about 14 feet, but it's up and over a ridge, so judging the speed's going to be a little tough. Not a whole lot of break.
Finish up his round for the day at 70. 1 under par for Freddie Couples. John Cook, one of those in at 66. We come back, we're going to hear from John.
There you go.
I played in the snow, so I was a rude awakening there. But yeah, we played up at Pebble Beach. Our state amateur was up there many times and played up there a lot. So we're prepared for the cold and the wind, and I don't think they could really throw a whole lot at me that I hadn't seen before. Whether I'm comfortable with it or not, I don't know, but I've played in a lot of conditions.
Well, I'm sure you have, John. It was a great round today. Thanks for coming over, and good luck the rest of the week. Mr. Musburger?
Thank you, Frank, and congratulations to John Cook. While he was there, Gordon Brand scooted past him on the leaderboard, and he has one hole to play. He could make it a three-way logjam with a birdie at 18. Olafable moves up to the tee here.
Olafable with an iron.
Just placed it out there in the fairway here. Payne Stewart's second shot at the finishing par 4 18th.
Well, he's in the first cut of rough over there. Not too bad. You can see the ball. This is fescue rough. It generally doesn't get too thick.
Wow. 4 right.
Wow, that's the dreaded 5-letter word. Shank.
Norman at the tee at number 15. This is a 417-yard par 4. Well, the Shark splits the fairway here with that one. He's at 2 under. He'd like to improve on it, though, before the first round ends. A very calm Firth of Fourth. They're in the background, and as a result, Raymond Floyd and Steve Pate are right out and fire beautiful 64s. Now, Gordon Brand on the tee at 18, one back of our co-leaders.
Incredible amount of pressure being a Scot playing an Open Championship in Scotland.
And playing extremely well, isn't he?
Well, Colin Montgomery fell victim to the enormous pressure with his round today.
Back at 15, Jose Maria Olafable, second shot.
Hitting the iron off the tee left himself about 210. Very difficult way to play this game. And that ball's going to the right.
Straight to the flag.
Well, 15 is an innocent enough looking hole from the back tee to that first fairway bunker on the right. It's 244 yards, so players try to fit their drive either short of that or, if they're driving well, go in between them.
Now Norman.
Greg Norman from 155 after hitting a nice drive.
Yeah, small baby.
Pretty shot. Good spirits?
This time he did. This time we're going to do it perfect. I wasn't going to lie. I know he didn't tell me.
Yeah, just going on about his business here, isn't he?
And then you get over it in the car.
Speaking of going on about your business, he may shave after this 18th.
Well, he got a pretty good drop. There are designated drop circles for those balls who managed to find their way into the grandstand area there. Pretty simple pitch from there, but the flagstick on top of a little knoll.
Here's one of Jim McKay's favorite golfers, Jeff Sluman, with an eagle attempt.
I think they see eye to eye, Brent.
He played so well at the U.S. Open out at Pebble Beach.
Well, he finished second. Did so in a very affirmative manner on the final round with horrible conditions. But, you know, the players complained about how tough it was to score, yet there were 4 players that broke par, he being one.
Breaking away, but that gives Sluman a birdie. And Stewart for par at 18.
Been a strange kind of round. Made double bogey at his 9th hole. 4 under on the back, 2 under in all.
So he gives one back. But he's in position to make a run tomorrow. Tomorrow's cut down day, so he certainly did not shoot his way out of here, did he? Now, earlier at the 15th, Olazabal's third shot. Now they use these putters well off the greens, don't they? Now live, here's Norman. This is for a birdie. This would move him to 3 under if he can make it.
Be a big putt for him to make with 17 coming up. If he can make this one, he should get in with 67.
Well, that is a 360.
Why do those things always happen to Greg Norman?
It's like the ball's moving. It is, again, dives hard into the left-hand side, goes down, and sorry, Greg, not here.
What did he do as a child to deserve all this bad luck? All right, here's the funkster, Fred Funk. Nice to see him here, isn't it, Steve?
That's great. It's nice to see Fred come over here and play in his first British Open. One of the most popular wins we've seen in years at Houston. Good opening score.
Now, after a wonderful tee shot, here's Brand standing at 6 under. He has not been Brand X today, has he?
He's a long way back. He's about 200 yards away from the flagstick. Obviously laid up off the tee.
Muscled it well past and above the flagstick, so he'd be very happy to settle for a par on the 18th. He'll be putting back downhill. There's a look at our top competitors. The noble Spaniard with a par putt at 15, and now Bob Rosberg, at the 16th tee.
Well, the wind has died appreciably. It's hardly blowing at all. It has a fighting chance to get the ball close now, although this is the most difficult flagstick placement on the green. Anything to the left, you can swing it off that hill, but up there to the right, if you miss any at all to the right, you're going to put it in that bunker. Has a 6-iron.
He swings fast, Rossi, but he doesn't play fast.
No, he really doesn't. This group has been behind all day. Tell by the crowd applause for that last shot, which is about 30 feet to the left of the hole, that there haven't been a whole lot of balls close to this hole today. Greg, I think, would take a 7-iron and try and hit it up in the air like he always does. Good solid 7-iron would be the right club for Greg. Hole playing 182 yards. Greg far more deliberate than he used to be.
onto
what
that.
happens when you try and shoot it at the flag, Brent.
Really rolled off of there, Rossi, and trickled into that bunker. Now Brand, way above the flagstick here at 18.
Real tough two-putt with a flagstick on that knoll. Watch it peel away to the left. Pretty good effort from back there, Brent.
Good one. If he can make that, he'd be one back and tied with Woozy.
For the good player that he is, he probably has the least attractive British Open record among the so-called seasoned players. He's not even come close to having a top 10, only made about 4 cuts in 17 appearances.
This is Kenny Trumbull. And he's 1 under. Kenny Trumbull, one of the Australian players.
Third member of the group. Excuse me, Brent. The third member of the group, Barry Lane, the fine English player. Amazing, Brent, to see the number of people still here so late in the day. It is 6:45 our time.
Have enough daylight here to go out and put in 18 holes.
Tom Watson had dinner the other night, took a few clubs out behind our hotel and played until about dusk, which was about 10:30. Long putt for par. Of 72 for Mr. Lane. Trumbull will be next. Well done.
Yeah, he'll wrap up first round and hope he can improve on that a little bit tomorrow, get through the cut. Play on Saturday and Sunday here at Muirfield. He'll have to improve quite a bit, won't he? This one's big for Gordon.
Well, among the Scots, Montgomery, Torrance, and Lyle, it is Gordon Brand who has carried the banner well today.
This for par. And now we see some of the folks here in the grandstands scurrying for the exits. And meanwhile, Norman at 16 will try to get out of this bunker.
Had a nice lie, remained on the upslope, made the shot a little easier, left it about 7 feet short.
Eyeing his putt here. Check the scoreboard there. It's quite a contrast at the top, isn't it, Steve Pate? 30 years old. Birthday on May 26th this year. He turned 30. And Ray Floyd on September 4th. He'll turn 50. Both of them fired 64s today. Pate with 7 birdies and no bogeys. Floyd 8 birdies and 1 bogey. Now, this is the birdie putt for Jose Maria. Good effort there.
one other point to mention, Brent, is that Steve Pate played for Ryder Cup captain Ray Floyd.
Let's check Jeff Sluman's second shot here at 18.
Right at it.
Nicely done. One of the better shots that we've seen there in the last 45 minutes. Gave himself a wonderful opportunity for a birdie with that. He's just in perfect position. Coming uphill a little bit toward the cup now. Tough par saver here for Norman. Norman deserves a good break on this one after that putt didn't stay down back on 15. No, his first bogey of the round for Greg Norman. We come back and we're going to hear from Payne Stewart. He's down with Frank Hannigan. That in a moment.
I'll take it. You know, under par on this golf course is good. It was vulnerable early today. I played the 9th hole, made 7 there, and that's throwing numerous amounts of shots away. So I was very proud of the way I brought it back on the last 9. Other than making the bogey on the last hole.
Okay, as bluntly as possible, what's with the facial hair?
Well, I don't know. Just to change the pace, really. I told my daughter that I wasn't going to shave until I won. She says, "Boy, I hope you shave Sunday night." And I said, "So do I."
We noticed the same thing with Bernard Langer. Is that a coincidence?
Well, I saw it when I was in Orlando last week. I was watching Sky Television, and it saw Langer playing that Scottish, and he had it. And I go, look, see, you know, it's not just me.
Okay, well, as I recall, now facial hair is sometimes used to be frowned on in your august organization, the PGA Tour, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we're not at the PGA Tour right now. We're at the British Open, so, and I won't be playing back on our tour until the PGA, so hopefully it'll be gone by then.
I hope it will, too. Good luck to you the rest of the week, and thanks for coming by, Payne.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. He's probably looking for a razor endorsement. Now here's Jose Maria, 17th tee.
He's lost this to the right, and he really has not driven very well today at all.
Ricocheted back into the rough. Rossi may have struck somebody over there. It was hard to tell, but we can see the ball. He's over there. Not like the rough the boys battled here at Muirfield in '87 with this drought condition. Now, this for a birdie for Sluman. This is really makeable, Steve. This one right here.
Well, it is. And the nice thing about it, you know, Jeff is remarkably patient. He's played himself in a pretty good position, made the birdie at 17, and now he could get to red figures with this putt for birdie here at 18. Only one tournament win in what could best be described as an almost career. Got beat in a playoff by Sandy Lyle at TPC one year when one of his FSU friends jumped in the water.
Way to go, Jeff. Moving to under par here in the first round. Now back to Norman on the 17th tee. Try to get that one back that he just dropped. He went after it. How the fortunes change in this game. Greg Norman could be at 3 under. Putt wouldn't stay down. Then his first bogey. Now he's at 1 under. And we'll come back in a moment.
ESPN's presentation of the 1992 British Open is brought to you by Karsten Manufacturing, makers of custom fit, custom built, Ping Zing irons and woods. And by Glidden, the paint used in over half the homes in America.
So Steve Pate and Ray Floyd, sparkling 64s today, and Pate has never won a major championship. For Floyd, this is the only major that he has never won. He captured one Masters, lost a second in a playoff to Nick Faldo. He's won a U.S. Open and 2 PGAs to go along with it. He's had a wonderful year. For Steve Pate, well, he's had some problems. Remember the Ryder Cup competition of the automobile accident, unable to compete in that. But now he has come on strong here with that 64. Steve Melnick, 58 players are currently under par in this, the first round of the British Open. 25 of them are Americans.
Well, we have acquitted ourselves nicely over here. It's not a us versus them, if you will. This truly is, as we said at the top of the show, the championship of the world, the Open Championship. And we have seen players, Brent, that quite frankly we don't see very often, and yet they have managed to play very well. The Americans particularly, as you said, have adapted to these conditions. This is so different than American golf, where I almost call it paint by numbers. You drive at the fairway, you hit it on the green, and it sticks. Here you have to be creative. You have to make shots work for particular holes that you're playing. It's a great venue, a great way to play golf.
William Hill offered odds of even money on a hole-in-one today, Mr. Melnick. Paul McGinley did them in on the 7th.
He must have known what he was doing, Brett.
So we wrap up our first round coverage. And the Firth of Forth was real mild here today. What did they say? Nay wind, nay golf. We didn't have much golf then because we just had very little wind. But tomorrow's a different day, as they say in Scotland, and we'll see what the dawn brings. Still some of the boys out there wrapping it up. Probably a good 24 golfers to finish up their first round. They get down around 8 or 8:30, but it wraps it up for us. And it's Floyd and Pate, and today on ESPN, there will be an 11-day recap on the Tour de France. That's coming up later at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Then join us again tomorrow, second round coverage of the 100.